Yo, what's up, June? How you feeling tonight? Welcome to the stream. Welcome to the stream. Just about to get, started up today, listening, learning. It's 2 years, first hours of Unreal Engine 2. That's an introduction to your first. I know. I thought it was the same thing.
Hello, my name is Matthew Wadstein, and welcome to your first hour with Unreal Engine 5.2. We're going to take a high-level look at Unreal Engine today, introduce you to the basics of how it works, and create a small project to experiment with that we will use as the beginning of our journey. After you've installed the launcher and logged in, you're going to come to this page. If you don't come to this page, on the left-hand side we have options for Store, Library, and Unreal Engine. Go ahead and click on Unreal Engine to load up the Unreal Engine section. Now looking along the top we have a few options. News is going to give us all the news that's current and up to date for Unreal Engine. Next to this we have the Sample section. The Sample section is going to be a bunch of pre-made samples that help us explore the engine, as well as showcase new content as it comes out. Next to this is our Marketplace. Our Marketplace is where we can go in order to purchase or receive free items from Epic as well as other content creators. Next to this is Library, and this is where you'll do the majority of the managing for the engine versions and your projects, as well as downloaded content from the Marketplace. Since we're just starting out, we need to go ahead and install Unreal Engine so we can start using it. Here we can see under engine versions, I already have 2 of them installed, 4.27 and 5.0. You can have as many engine versions installed as you would like that you have space for. They all exist side by side. For example, you might have projects using an older version and newer versions all at the same time. To add a new version, click the plus button next to engine versions, and you'll get the ability to install a new version based on whatever you'd like. And here, with this drop down on the top right, You'll go ahead and have access to the latest version of Unreal Engine as well as all the older versions. Since this course is regarding 5.2, go ahead and choose 5.2 and install it. After we click the install button, we can choose the install location and change some options. I would recommend clicking the option button and going through these lists. Engine source is one thing you can uncheck. You probably won't need it when you're first starting out. It'll save you some space. And if you scroll parts of this launcher, click on down. These are all the items that we can even see other for custom versions that I've installed. Below this, we have our vault. These are all the items that we've added to our account from the marketplace and where you can create projects or add content to existing projects. Going back to our marketplace, this is where we can find free and paid content. In the free section, let's click on UE Online Learning. This is the content related to Unreal Engine for the online learning content. In here, we can go ahead and look for the online learning kit. If you can't find it, we can search for online learning kit, and you can find it that way. Go ahead and click on it, and you can see all the information available to you for this online learning kit. We can see things such as what type of download it is, a complete project or an asset pack, any supported engine versions, and any supported platforms. Go ahead and click on free in order to add this to your account. After it's been added to the account, it'll give you the ability to either create a new project or add it to an existing one. Since this is a complete project, go ahead and click Create Project. Go ahead and pick the folder where you want this to install and hit Create. Here we can see back.
Damn. You said unkill. What's up, comic man? How you feeling? How you feeling tonight? Welcome to the stream. They really got me downloading a whole different. You know, actually, skip that, skip that, skip that, skip that. I'm just gonna
Now that
watch
we are
it since,
prepared to
you know,
work with Unreal Engine, let's launch the editor
I
and
don't
get to
feel
work.
like downloading a whole
Inside our
nother
library tab, we can see
Unreal
all of our
Engine.
installed engine versions. Let's click on launch for the one we want to use and get it loaded. I have two options here. I can click on launch next to the version I'd like, or on the top right, I can change to the different versions and quick launch. Go ahead and launch the project browser however you'd like, and the editor will start up. If this is the first, go ahead and choose third person as the template we're going to be using. Make sure it's set to blueprint. Make sure starter content is checked.
So what, you
Go ahead and
learning?
pick the location
Shit,
where you
the
want your
engine?
project
The engine?
created and
I
name
don't know
it.
nothing
In my
about
case, I
Unreal
might
right
want to
now,
call
really.
this your
Yeah,
first
just,
hour.
You know,
And you'll notice to come across an issue.
learn
Project names
what
may
I
not
gotta
contain a
do
space.
and
There are
where.
some restricted characters for project names, and it will let you know if there is one. So I'm going to go ahead and just simply delete my spaces, and I'll go ahead and create the project. While the
Because right
project
now,
is
I'm
being
clueless.
created, it may need to compile shaders. This may take some time, so just go ahead and wait for it to finish. Once it's done, your editor will open up. And here we can see we have our editor opened up to our third-person map because we chose the third-person template. Let's go ahead and take a look at our editor and how we can navigate around it and work with the items inside of it. The primary window which we can see is our viewport. This is our view into our world. Let's look at navigating around our viewport. Holding down the right mouse button will allow us to look around. Holding down the left mouse button will allow us to move in and out and look left and right. Holding down both buttons will allow us to move up, down, left, and right based on our mouse movement. If we hold down the right mouse button and use the W, A, S, and D key, we can move our camera forwards, backwards, left, and right. Now this is the basics of navigating around our viewport. Let's go ahead and look at moving items around our viewport. If we were to click on any of the items in our world, we'll get a little outline and we'll get a widget that allows us to transform the item we've selected. If we want to get a better view, we can press the F or focus key to focus on the item we've selected, or we can double click on any of the items inside of the top right outliner to also focus on them. If we want to move them, we would use the translate widget. We can click on any of the arrows. It indicates a direction. We can left click mouse hold and drag the item in that direction. In the top right, we have the different controls inside of our viewport. This is where we have the ability to select items, translate them, which is allowing us to move them in the world, rotating the items, and scaling the items. And it's got the same basic setup. We can grab any of them and rotate as needed, or we can click scale, and we can scale on one of the axes or all of them. Click, left mouse hold and drag. Properties or the settings on our actors that are in our world will be available to us inside of things such as the different lighting that's available to us. The outliner is the outline that shows us all of the actors in our project. We can search for individual items or choose the filter option to find specific item types. Once we have an item selected, the details panel below this gives us the details or the properties for the item we have selected. In this case, I can choose my directional light, and we can see we have things such as the intensity, or how bright our light is, and even the light color. So in this case, I can have a purple light, and now my scene has changed. Any of the properties or the settings on our actors that are in our world will be available to us inside of our details panel. Along the top, we have our main toolbar. This is where we have quick access to things such as saving our current level, changing the different mode we're working in. By default, we're in selection mode to work in the items in our viewport. The ability to quickly create extra content, such as additional lights or other blueprints, and then our quick play tools. Let's go ahead and look at those. Let's hit the play button, and you should spawn in with your character. It's going to spawn in with our default mannequin. Since we've chosen the third-person template, it's given us a character setup with a third-person camera and third-person controls. We can again move our mouse to look around, or use the WASD keys to move our character around the level. We can see our chair we set up in our bushes, we can run up, we can even jump because jump was set up as part of our default third-person character. Once you're done playtesting, you can press the escape key to stop playtesting. After you've been playing around with your project for a little bit, you might end up with something that you want to keep. This is my project and it's messy, but it's mine and I love it. Up to this point, we really haven't saved anything, so we should look at that first. In the top left, in our main toolbar, we have the ability to save our current level to disk. We can click that, and it's going to save our current level. In addition, we can go up to File and Save All, and they'll save all the items, maybe things we've brought in. For example, we're going to look at that during this process here, or anything we may have modified. We started with our starter content, but let's say we created this project and forgot our starter content. And then, if we forgot the starter content, under Content, Person and Add, and this will add the first person content to our third person project that we started. Okay, this is good. How do we add additional content from outside of the editor? On the launcher, we have access to the marketplace. Now, we already went here before when we created our project using the online learning kit. If you haven't done that, make sure you go ahead and do that now. This is where you can find free and paid content. For example, we go to free, Epic Games content. We can find something we might want to add to our project by going to that item. We could purchase that item, and then we could add it to our project or create a new project with it. Back inside of our library, let's go ahead and double click on the online learning kit to open it up. And you may get an error. It's asking me to choose the Unreal Engine version I want to open this project up in. If you have a project that was created in a different version than one you have installed, it's not going to be able to open it up in that engine because it's not installed. You can go ahead and select a different version of the engine. Keep in mind, it is not backwards compatible. If the project was created in 5.1 and you're trying to open it in a version of 4, it will not work. But if it was created in 5.1 and you're trying to open in 5.2, you should be fine. So in this case, choose the appropriate version you want to open it up in. We want to choose 5.2, and it's going to go ahead and open up that project in that version. Once our project is opened up, you can take a look around and you see this basic little scene. And I want to take this little scene and I want to use it inside of my project. But how do I do that? Well, we're going to use the migrate feature. For example, if I went into my EOL content folder and I went into meshes, I might find this floor. I can right click on the floor, choose asset actions, and migrate.
I'm not gonna lie, I feel you with learning. I've been trying to learn RPG developer. Is that bacon? Backing? I seen you popping up on Steam on there. I looked at it one day. It look cool. It look cool. It's like got like 3D shit in and everything. Hello, Kotagi. How you feeling? I said finally found an Anji combo that does more than 100 days. Boy, you still be boy, your ass playing that game every damn day. You a fiend.
It'll now find all of the items that are required for this mesh that I chose, the materials, material instances, textures, the mesh itself, and allow me to export it. So I could choose OK. It's now going to ask me where do I want to move it to. In this case, it's my projects folder, your first hour, content folder. I'm pulling it out of the content folder in the original project, so I need to make sure it goes in the content folder in the new project.
With your ass.
And if I was to hit select folder, it'll now migrate it out. But instead, I actually want everything that's inside of it. So let's go into our maps folder. Here's our playground map. It's the one. Now I my first hour. For app playground, I'm going to go ahead and open it up, and here's our playground map. If we want, we can hit play to play test, and our little orange character drops out. Our character can run around. It has custom controls. It can jump.
I asked for help with making something like tool tips for status effects, and I bet they have to fuck around with somebody else's script. So I gotta work it, and now I'm running into a wall with it, bruh. It's answer my demand to pull up, and it's refused. I count as a W. I don't think that's how it works, my guy. That ain't no real W. That ain't no real W.
Jump, and when we're done, we can end the playtest. Let's go ahead and look at lighting inside of this level and play with a few different things. First of all, we are using Lumen. It is the global illumination system in Unreal Engine 5 that allows the light and the color of objects to mingle together. So if we're shining a light on a blue item, when that light bounces off the blue item, it's going to be a more blue-looking light, and it's going to show up on the surfaces it bounces on. It's a great way to get a more realistic look. If we go to Edit, Project Settings, we scroll down to the Rendering section, then we scroll down a little more, we can find Lumen is the Dynamic Global Illumination method. Now if you find you're having issues with performance, you can go ahead and change it. There's None, Screen Space, and Standalone Ray Tracing. I'd recommend Screen Space if you want global illumination, but Lumen is too much, or None if you need the most performance. We're going to keep Lumen on. Now when working with lights, let's choose our directional light, and our main settings are going to be our intensity and our light adaptation. Light, if we were to go ahead and, like I have this blue color, and that's what our skylight gives us, that little shadow color or ambient light. It's a great way to get a little bit of a mood where your directional light can affect everything else directly. There are other additional lights. If we go up to our create menu and go to lights, we have other options such as point light, spotlight, and rect light. Point lights are just a little light that emits from a point in space. We can see here. Spotlights give us the ability to put a light in a direction that comes out in a cone. And rect lights give us exposure, going to brighten up things that are too dark or darken up things that are too bright. We've now got a fixed auto exposure level, and now you can set your lighting to be the exact way you want, and you don't have to worry about it changing. let's go ahead and give ourselves a little bit more of a fun look. Show us the one we have. Cool bloom effect. We can see shaft, and we have a few options. So we'll find our directional light, and I'm going to rotate it so that way it is a light shaft coming through. Well, we have a nice long shadow coming in from our light. On our directional light, let's look for light shaft, and we have a few options. We have light shaft occlusion, and we have light shaft bloom. Let's turn on light shaft bloom. Let's go ahead and move our character down, and now we can see we have this really cool bloom effect. We can see we enable and disable it, and we get a nice little God Ray effect. And our character can run through our level, and they have this fun little effect that adds a lot of atmosphere just by changing a few properties. And this is something important to note. There are hundreds of settings and properties available to you on the included items inside the editor. You might be thinking, oh, I need to create something by scratch. I want this really cool effect. How do I do it? When it might already be available to you. And that's why I'd recommend you look at the documentation for specific features you might want to try to use rather than recreating them by hand. Now, the last thing of note when working with lighting is the lighting mobility types. I'm going to go back to my directional light. Let's clear out my search. And at the top, we have mobility. We have static, stationary, and movable. Static lighting is lighting that can't be changed in the game. It is fixed, it's baked out using the light mask baker, and it will never change. But the advantage of it is basically 0% performance hit. It's free performance for your lights. We have stationary. We have the ability for shadows to be changed, but the lighting itself can't change. So keep that in mind. And the performance is between static and movable. And the last one is movable. The colors can be changed dynamically. The shadows can be changed dynamically. Everything is dynamic. You're also going to need movable if you want to use lumen, because lumen requires movable for global illumination purposes. So keep these in mind, and depend on your project. For example, a mobile device might want to use static lighting, while a high-end When we look around our test map, we can see quite a bit of content, including a button that we can see right here. Now you might be thinking to yourself, that's cool, but I want 3 buttons. Now I need to make this button 3 different times and set it up 3 different times. But no.
What you mean 2 days? What's up now? What's a goodie, Tachi? How you feeling, man? What you mean 2 days? What you mean?
With blueprints, you can skip the repetitive part of design and get right to the fun. Let's go ahead and click on the button. And on the right, we have the edit to click to edit the blueprint. We'll open up our blueprint. We're not covering blueprints in detail. We have other courses and documentation on that. We're going to take a quick look at what blueprints are going to give to us and make available to us. In the middle here by default, we have our event graph. This is where our code or blueprint nodes are going to show up. We also have our viewport, which is our visual representation of the items inside of our blueprint. And that's the basics of it. It's a collection of things that are known as components, and then code that may interact with that component. It doesn't have to. You can have things automated. You don't need the blueprint scripting code inside of here. A lot of things can be automated using just components. When we create a blueprint in our project, it's one asset, but we can duplicate it as many times as we want on our level. Each one of those is unique, and they become what's known as an instance of that blueprint. This means all of the code and each of the components on those blueprints are considered unique to that instance, and any changes we make to that instance only apply to that one. Blueprints are not the only thing in the engine that can have instances. For example, we can have a material instance that allows to easily create unique materials. Let's take a look at how we can use blueprints and materials together. Now I mentioned we might need to duplicate this multiple times if we want 3 different buttons. Let's actually look at how we can use
3D anime out here, boy.
I'm going to drag my button out of my content browser, use my Alt key, and I'm going to duplicate it 3 times. Now looking at each one of these, they're comprised of different components. We can see we have a frame. I don't want to fight Luane, that's crazy. We have a button, and then we have collision.
Luane ain't dead.
And our button is made up of a stacked mesh and a material.
He just chef it in the kitchen.
If we open up this material by double-clicking on it, it will look different than what an actual material looks like, because this is a material instance.
I want to see a bear maul this dude. What dude?
Parent and double-click on it. This is our actual material. We can go in a little bit farther and we can see all the complicated math that comes into making this material. But what we care about is there is an instance of it that has specific settings, such as the color. We can change our color to, let's say, a blue. We'll hit OK. When we go back out, now you'll see all of our buttons.
This will all gonna sound like we heat your age. That's crazy.
Or get into the dirty, messy parts of the material to make it blue. Now, if we find this material instance glow, we can click Browse to MI Glow in Content Browser underneath the material. We can find where it's at. You notice it has a little star next to it. That means that we have a change. It has
I think you started trends on Grand Blue Sir because oh my mama, I did see a single go away until you start. That's crazy.
I want my default to be
you
white.
Said they popping out now.
I can right click and I can duplicate.
They popping out now.
I'll duplicate it twice. We're going to change this to glow blue. And we'll change it to glow red. Now if we go into the glow blue by double clicking on it and changing its glow to a blue color. And then we do the same thing with
like
glow
crazy,
red.
man.
Its glow to a red color.
Now I gotta find another character.
We'll go back inside of our playground, and we have a glow blue, and a glow red. And each of our buttons can have their own setup. On the button under glow, we'll make this one red. And for the next button, on the button itself, under glow, we'll make this one blue. And now we have 3 different buttons in our world with 3 different colors. But they're all using the same blueprint, so all the code.
You said, what's this game gonna be about? I don't know yet. I'm just learning right now, June. I'm just learning right now. It's probably gonna be something to take place in the TIP verse, though. See, all the nears and veers already masters. Good. Keep their ass out the area. I mean, I don't want to fight them motherfuckers.
Code and logic applies to them.
Let them
they just visually look different.
Cheat their way to victory, you know.
And we could easily add more colors just by duplicating our original instance.
It's about you, G. Who said all that? Who said all that?
Now, if we open up our push button blueprint and we go into our event graph, this is our code. And we're going to look at the code at a high level. Code will start somewhere. In this case, we have an event called Begin Play, and it will go to the right based on our white wires. Our
so
white
make a 3D platform, but thick. You already got the ultra jump.
The next thing and continue on. In this case, we're simply storing where the button's location is into a variable called starting location. That way, when we animate it, we always know where it goes back to. Down here, we have something called an overlap. So when we walk over our button, we play a timeline, and that's going to go ahead and make our button move up and down by setting the location over time.
Nigga, how much, nigga, that's you seen what I did, nigga. Don't ask me no dumb question like that, boy.
We'll notice the button goes down.
You seen what I did.
Or the button goes back up.
You know it ain't no damn finite state machine in
different events inside of our blueprint.
I don't even know how to do blueprints, nigga. That's what I'm looking at right now. How I'm supposed to do a state machine. I can't even make states, nigga.
Code, but still have the components do things. If we were to look at
man, you seen what I did yesterday? I ain't done today. I'm just watching videos today.
You'll notice there's no code. But when we play, our platform goes up and down. That is because the component on here, called interp to movement or interpolate movement, is set up to move our platform up and down based on settings inside of the component.
Tell her what is happening. What do you mean what's happening? Ain't nothing happening.
To change the look of one of the components.
I'm trying to pay attention to the video and talk to you at the same time.
One. So that's another strength of blueprints. We have the ability to add functionality to our project in a visual way, and a lot of the time without actually getting into code. It's more of just setting something.
Man, I'm just
when we look around our text,
I can't even pull this into Unreal for real because he's talking about some what was that guy Joey Chimney said? He said that finna be a what finna be a milestone? really up in that real life hating on Nike. That's crazy. You said I gotta clean up mine too, so we had to save dirty sheets. I don't know about all that. I don't know about all that. I'm dead. I gotta call it you. I'm dead. I'm dead. Hate das. Hate das. Man, really out here hating. What was that? What was that? I have school tomorrow. Good night. All right, good night, Shabazz. You have a nice one. You say you got a brother delete by a cat. That's crazy. Personally, I wouldn't let another grown man tell me what I can play or not play. What the hell what did, oh here we go, I just passed it. He said it was called Leaf Branch. Leaf Branch. The Leaf Branch games. Oops, excuse me, my bad. And they got carried the select screens in this joint. That's crazy. Splash screen. Home missile launcher. What the hell? Card system. This is a long ass video.
Blueprint beginner tutorial. In this beginner tutorial, I will explain what are blueprints, why you should learn blueprints, and how to use blueprints inside of Unreal Engine 5. Blueprint is the visual scripting system of Unreal Engine, and you can use Blueprint to create things like complete games, tools, and so much more. Now, if you aren't going to be creating games inside of Unreal Engine, Blueprint still can be a very useful tool to learn. Whether you are using Unreal Engine for creating things like short films, or maybe creating even some sort of interactive product for a client, you can still use Blueprint to create tools or interactability, so it is very useful to learn for all aspects of Unreal Engine. Now, in this video, we will be going over all of the Blueprint basics inside of Unreal Engine 5. I will explain how to create blueprints, all of the user interface in the Blueprint editor, what are blueprint variables and how you can use them, and we'll apply all of the things we learn by creating these 5 different blueprints. So we have things like a door that we can open and close. We have this health and damage boxes. So when our character runs into the damage box, it will decrease their health. If we run back into the health box, it will heal our character. We have things like this hat pickup that we can equip. We also have this soccer goal that we can score, and the ball will respawn, and just so much more. So this video was designed for complete beginners with no experience.
Crouton, why you always gotta say like just say ignorant stuff like?
Beginner series. So if you don't have,
What's the point? What's the point? Let me know.
If you are a complete beginner with Unreal Engine 5,
What's the point? Why do you do this?
Previous video where I show you how to get started inside of Unreal Engine 5, as it teaches you the bare basics of the Unreal Editor and all the basic controls. Now, if you reach to the end of this video, and if you end up enjoying this free tutorial, you can check out some of my premium courses on smartpoly.teachable.com. If you are interested in making games inside of Unreal Engine, luckily for you,
and why is sock in there?
Player survival game.
So no, it's ignorant though. It's ignorant though. It could be random and ignorant.
Adding more courses in the future, so chances are,
it
if
could be
you're
both.
watching this video in the future, you can check out my website smartpoly.teachable.com to check and see.
I don't know if it's random though. You always seem to be talking about penises.
Series, so I will be making a follow-up video.
It's not really random, actually. Yeah. Now that I think about it.
Users. So this will be the second blueprint video in the series, and then after that video, I'll be making a final video called Blueprint for Advanced Users. So make sure you hit that subscribe button because you don't want to miss out on the follow-up tutorial. And also, I'm trying to hit 100,000 subscribers before the end of the year. And so without further ado, let's get right into the video.
What editor you out there? We have different. I'm sure we do.
Alright, so the first thing
of course we would. Of course we would.
To create a brand new project for this video. So you want to go ahead and launch Unreal Engine 5. I'm going to be using Unreal Engine 5.3. So now we're in the Unreal Project browser. So we're going to create a brand new project. I'm going to select the Games tab, and then I'm going to choose the third-person template. Now down here on the bottom for our project defaults, you can see we have Blueprint or C++. We're going to talk a little bit more about how Blueprint and C++ go hand in hand, and how you can use either one or the other.
I thought you meant ignorant the same way that Game Grumps mean. Nigga, I don't know what the Game Grumps, nigga. I don't know how they mean it, nigga.
Make sure that we hit this little checkbox so we include starter content. So we're going to use some of the assets in the starter content. Then for our project name, I'm going to name this to Blueprint Beginner. Okay, and we'll just click create. Okay, so here we are in the engine. Now we have this new plugins available, so I'm going to click dismiss on that. That should be all good. So first things first, let's go ahead and explain what are blueprints. So blueprints are the visual scripting system of Unreal Engine, and it can be used to create anything. So for example, you can use blueprints to create full, complete games. Things like characters, cars, weapons.
So I will say, I do say penis a lot. Canadians just think it's funny.
Now, if you aren't going to be creating games inside of Unreal Engine,
are you currently working on KOF Devlog?
Because you can create really
I don't. For the last time, I don't own King of Fighters. How the hell am I gonna make a King of Fighters devlog? Whenever somebody says something phobic or anti-Semitic, if it's when the green girls bust out the word ignorant. I mean, that's just bigoted, boy. That's just, I mean, ignorance confines more than just that. What the fuck? Like, what the hell?
So let's go ahead and cover a basic blueprint. So this is the third-person template, which is a simple games template, and this is a great template that explains the basics of.
Matter of fact, let's look up the word ignorant. Let's look up the word ignorance real quick. Lack of knowledge or information. That ain't the one we looking for. That's the basic one. We need the other definitions. What the other shit said. See, I'm wrong on my use of ignorant. I mean, that don't got nothing to do with it though. That don't got nothing to do. That don't got nothing to do with your definition. What you mean? I'm trying to find other definitions. I know there's more. There's more. You know, we gotta hit up the Urban Dictionary for this one. There are a few examples here. Lacking knowledge. 2. Slang. Insult used to describe another party as stupid and or prejudiced. Often used incorrectly as the most ignorant parties in the debate tend to call others ignorant to make up for their own lack of knowledge or prejudices. So you can't give a word a new meaning like that. Well, I guess you can. It's another one here. A discourteous or rude individual who not only lacks knowledge or awareness of the subject, but actively refuses to acknowledge or intentionally disregards all information contrary to on said subjects. It's a lot of ignorance up in here. It's a lot of ignorance. It's just you know. No, you ignorant. You ignorant. You're a discourteous or rude individual. That's what I'm calling you right now. That's what I'm calling you right now.
Blueprint. So since this is the game's template, we can actually click some play buttons. We click that little green play icon, and now you can see we have this third-person character in our scene.
You said called Torball said he thought Taiwan was a country.
Around our character, and we also can move our WASD keys to move our character around. You can see that makes
I ain't said nothing like that. I ain't said nothing like that.
Press the space bar on our keyboard.
I didn't say nothing in regards to that at all.
So this is a very
So which happens all the time.
And this is all made entirely with Blueprint. So how does that all work? So if we press escape.
No, I don't know, man. You know, a lot of niggas know a lot of ignorant motherfuckers.
The character blueprint. So if we go to our content drawer, I'm actually going to dock this in.
This what I'm calling you. This what I'm calling you. You ever see this right here? Ignorant. That's you. That's you. That's you ignorant.
Content, we have this third person folder. So let's double click open that up.
What you mean? I just scrolled through all of them. It still said the same thing. It still said the same thing.
I talked about the different types of assets. So we know that this is a blueprint because it says blueprint class here at the bottom. And also every asset inside of Unreal Engine is color coded. So blueprints are color coded by this dark blue. So this is our third person character blueprint. Let's go ahead and double click and open this up.
Check it back up. Nah, you ignorant.
Let's go ahead and take this window and dock it.
Yeah, it is. It's a word.
Here in full screen. Now I'm going to go ahead and explain everything that we see here because I know there's a lot going on. So let's just go ahead and break it down. So the first 3 things I'm going to focus on.
In a word, why it's on dictionary.com then, huh?
So first,
why it's on dictionary.com? What that say? Ignorant. Ignorant. Slang dictionary. What does ignorant mean? Ignorant is a form of ignorant or ignorant person in black English. It's a slang way of calling somebody stupid or ridiculous or saying going wild and crazy.
So it's very similar to the regular viewport that we have. You can see we have all of the basic viewport controls. Things like our move tool, our rotate, scale, world space, local space. All of our snapping tools, and we can even change things like the camera speed. Okay, so very important because sometimes you want to maybe look really closely at the character.
You said not a real language. Well, you're ignorant too, talking about what the fuck.
In the viewport itself, you notice you can actually left click on objects. So I can actually click on this character and select it, and click on this camera as well. And you can see we also have that gizmo tool. So if I press W, that will bring up our movement tool. I can actually move this character around.
You said that is hood, like we don't have it in Canada or the rest of the world, so it's not that. If you don't got it in the rest of the world, Why niggas try to speak like us did, huh?
where I wanted to.
Why do people try to use hood language, huh?
So we get all the same basic controls. I can do Control Z to undo all those actions and all that stuff. Okay, so very similar. Now to the right of it, we have the construction script. So in here, this is essentially a blueprint graph. Now inside of here, to actually move around,
Why do Kotagi say facts with an X?
scroll in and out to zoom in and out. And then
Why
use your right mouse button
why do Shabazz say Torball?
in and out, and right mouse button to pan around. Now inside of the construction script, this is where you'll store blueprint logic that happens before the game starts. And we'll talk more in depth about that later on. Then to the right of it, we have this event graph. Now here in the event graph, similar to our construction script, we can zoom in and out using our mouse.
On the next game night, let's play a few sets of Street Fighter 6.
Is basically where you'll store all of the.
It's gonna have to be a time where we not.
When the game starts, or when the game is currently running.
It's gonna be a time when it's not game night, cause you know ain't nobody gonna be trying to sit there watching
Look really closely at
no Street Fighter 6.
these are simply all of the different.
So to get better about work out this figure argument distracted me.
Things like the input events, jump.
You partook in ignorance. You partook in ignorance. It's you know.
So
That's your own fault. You know, black people love seeing no they don't. No they don't. No they don't. That is not true.
When I move my mouse, it will move our camera. Then down below it, we have things like movement input. So when I press W, A, S,
Black people do not like to see other people acting like them. We look at them like they stupid.
Then below that, you can actually see our jump input. So when I press
Because we know if we act like them, we're gonna be looked at strange.
call this jump event. And then
No, nobody said there was no more game night.
we'll stop jumping.
We probably still gonna be doing game night.
Inputs, and this is everything that we saw in our third-person map. So when I hit play here, the movement of our camera around our character, the WASD,
See, when I got time, let's run it.
all of that is all of this logic right here, okay, inside of this event graph. Okay, so that is the event graph. So let's go
Sit
ahead
your ass
and
down.
start talking about the user interface. I want
Sit your ass down. If I win, you ignorant.
to the viewport. Now, in the viewport itself, we're going to start talking about all the different panels that are.
I don't. Tell me what you mean. Yes, we do. I don't.
This components window.
You seen the video of that Chinese girl or that Asian girl who tried to speak like she from the hood? Niggas hating on that.
Camera right here.
He said, "Okay, I gotta go down the." That's crazy.
This being selected.
Man, that's crazy. I'm putting the hitbox back. I'm putting the hitbox back.
That's what we have selected. If I select the character, you can see it's selecting the mesh or the character mesh. And this is very similar
Didn't you say we count those?
to the outliner window.
Didn't you say we count those, Kotagi? Didn't you say we count those? I count that, right?
Right there. So just like in the blueprint editor.
He said, I'm at the gym right now. I can't play, unfortunately. Maybe when I'm home with a tie off. Okay, we count those, Kotagi. We count those.
We have things like this capsule. So basically what the capsule does is
Yeah, we count those.
for the character.
No, not Aquafina. It was literally. Hold on, let me see if I found it. Let me see if I found it. Because it pissed me off. It pissed me off.
Then we have this camera boom, which has this camera attached to it. What the camera allows us to do is obviously see our character, and the camera boom sort of allows us to rotate camera around the character. Okay, so really all this character blueprint is made of are these different types of components put together. Things like the capsule, the character mesh, and the camera. Now, also when you select different objects in the viewport or in the components, you're going to notice this window to our right called the details panel. So similar to the details panel down here in our main window, it does the same exact thing.
Okay, bow down.
For example, if I select
I'll try to hop
mesh
over out
here,
that one.
it's going to show
I ain't gonna be
you
on too long, so you don't gotta worry
mesh.
about it for real. I was just joking. It only works on me, bro. I'm the under. That's crazy. Yeah, it was the girl on Twitter eating the food. Yeah, that her. I already found it. I done found it already. I done found it. That bitch said cornbread. Like, who the, man, Sarah, because I just saw that was a nigga reposted Civic. Oh, that's how you saw? I know. I seen niggas to myself, man, what the fuck is this? I can't even find it for real, bro. I don't even want to hear her voice, but she pissed me off anyway.
So we have things like the transform, the location, rotation, and scale. So if I were to change,
damn, you know, I ain't gonna lie, I just been.
First things first, let's go ahead.
Ain't even been listening to this nigga.
So blueprints are the visual scripting system of Unreal Engine, and it can be used to create anything. So for example, you can use blueprints to create full, complete games. Things like characters, cars, weapons, user interface, AI, all of that stuff can be created with Blueprint. Now, if you aren't going to be creating games inside of Unreal Engine, Blueprints still can be very useful to learn because you can create.
Yeah, it wasn't no. I don't think it was black people simping on her for real. Who actually hood niggas, or you know, hood adjacent. I don't think it was really them. It was just random motherfuckers. Just because you know they can flip a switch or increase the IQ. I mean, anybody can do that though. Anybody can do that. Even black people can do that. We could do that when we in a setting where we talking to, whether during employment or in an uppity area. We can do that ourselves. The way she did it was just fake though. It just sound bogus. Like I ain't never heard no black person call cornbread, bro. She said cornbread, bro. Man, I'm looking like, but get this off my screen.
Really anything with it. You can create things like tools, interactive experiences, and so much more. So let's go ahead and cover a basic blueprint. So this is the third-person template.
So I see my fair share of hello, officer. Facts, exactly. Well, hello, officer. How are you doing today? I was just on my way home. Oh, my headlight is out. Oh, my apologies, officer. I didn't notice. I didn't notice at all. I appreciate you letting me know. I'll get that fixed as soon as possible. Talking about, but what the hell? True story, by the way.
Which is
he got my ass right around the corner. Right around the corner, me coming home.
So since this is a game's template, we can actually click this little play button. So we click that little green play icon. And now you can see we have this third-person character in our scene. We can actually move our mouse around, and that will move the camera around our character. And we also can move our WASD keys to move our character around. You can see that makes our character run around. And if we press the spacebar on our keyboard, that will make our character jump. So this is a very simple character.
I don't know, bro. You sound a little scared. How so? Stereotypical how?
So if we press escape, we'll go ahead and escape out of the play mode. Let's go ahead and check out the character blueprint. So if we go to our content drawer, I'm actually going to dock this in layout. So click the little dock in layout. Let's go ahead and browse through that.
Did you just type?
We were just playing our content.
What did you just type?
Folder. So let's double click, open that up. And then in the blueprints, we have that third-person character.
No, trust me, good time. Yeah, I got it already. I'm good already, bro.
Different types of assets.
I wasn't trying for it right there, bro.
Because it says blueprint class.
How the hell you think I got my job, boy? I had to, they sat me in front of the goddamn store owner. Like I didn't get the regular HR motherfucker. They wasn't there that day. I had to talk to the goddamn nigga who ran the store.
Let's go ahead and double click and open this up. And here we're going to see the blueprint window. Let's go ahead and take this window and dock it up here at the top so we can see it here in full
He might be a little racist to me,
joke.
I don't know, man. I don't know.
I know there's a lot going on.
I don't know how to remove that joke. I'm stuff.
So the first three things I'm going to focus on are these three tabs right here in the center. Okay? So first let's go over and start from left to right. So we'll go over to the viewport. So if we go to our content drawer, I'm actually going to dock this in layout. So click the little dock in layout. Let's go ahead and browse to that character blueprint that we were just playing in our scene. So if you go to content, we have this third-person folder. So let's double click, open that up. And then in the blueprints, we have that third-person character blueprint class. So in my previous beginner tutorial, I talked about the different types of assets. So we know that this is a blueprint because it says blueprint class here at the bottom. And also every asset inside of Unreal Engine is color-coded. So blueprints are color-coded by this dark blue. So So this is our third person character blueprint. Let's go ahead and double click and open this up. And here we're going to see the blueprint window. So let's go ahead and take this window and dock it up here at the top so we can see it here in full screen. Now I'm going to go ahead and explain everything that we see here because I know there's a lot going on. So let's just go ahead and break it down. So the first three things I'm going to focus on are these three tabs right here in the center. Okay, so first let's go over and start from left to right. So we'll go over to the viewport.
That's
So
crazy.
the viewport is very similar to the viewport that we have inside of our third person map here. So just like the normal viewport, we can actually use our right mouse button to look around, and we can use our WASD keys to move around the viewport. So it's very similar to the regular viewport that we have. You can see we have all of the basic viewport controls, things like our move tool, our rotate, scale, world space, local space, all of our snapping tools, and we can even change things like the camera speed. Okay, so very important because sometimes you want to maybe look really closely at the character and inspect it. You can adjust your camera speed. Now in the viewport itself, you notice you can actually left click on objects. So I can actually click on this character and select it. I can click on this camera as well. And you can see we also have that gizmo tool. So if I press W, that will bring up our movement tool. So I can actually move this character around in this viewport. Okay. I can also press E, that will give us a rotation gizmo. I could even rotate our character around. And then we press R, that will give me my scale tools, and I could even scale the character however I wanted to. You know, I can make it super big, whatnot. So we get all the same basic controls. I can do Control Z to undo all those actions and all that stuff. Okay, so very similar. Now to the right of it, we have the construction script. So in here, this is essentially a blueprint graph. Now inside of here, to actually move around, you will use your scroll wheel. So you'll scroll in and out to zoom in and out. And then you use your right mouse button to pan around. Okay, so scroll in and out and right mouse button to pan around. Now inside of the construction script, this is where you'll store blueprint logic that happens before the game starts. And we'll talk more in depth about that later on. Then to the right of it, we have this event graph. And now here in the event graph, similar to our construction script, we can zoom in and out using our mouse wheel. And we can also pan around. So same thing. The event graph is basically where you'll store all of the blueprint logic that will run either when the game starts or when the game is currently running. And you'll notice that there are already a couple of different things on here. Now, if you look really closely at these different things, these are simply all of the different blueprints that allow our character to move, things like the input events, jump, movement, etc. So for example, we have camera input. So this is our input for moving our mouse around. So basically all that does is get the input from our mouse. So when I move my mouse, it will move our camera. Then down below it, we have things like movement input. So when I press WASD on my keyboard, it will move our character around. Then below that, you can actually see our jump input. So when I press the spacebar on our keyboard, it will call this a jump event. And then once I let go of the keyboard, it will stop jumping. So these are some very simple inputs, and this is everything that we saw in our third-person map. So when I hit play here, the movement of our camera around our character, the WASD, the spacebar, all of that is all of this logic right here, okay, inside of this event graph. Okay, so that is the event graph. So let's go ahead and continue talking about the user interface. I want to actually go ahead and head back over to the viewport. Now, in the viewport itself, we're going to start talking about all the different panels that are on the sides of the viewport, okay? So let's talk about first this components window. So you can see this window is called the components. Now what you might already have noticed is
a lot of shit
select on any of these different things. So if I select on this little camera right here, or on the character,
why she get her ass beat though? What she do?
We have these different components being selected. So I select this camera, you can see it's highlighting the follow camera because that's what we have selected. If I select the character, you can see it's selecting the mesh or the character mesh. And this is very similar to the outliner window, where if I select the cube, you can see it has the cube selected right there. So just like in the blueprint editor, I can select this character, and you can see that is comprised of this mesh. So this is the character mesh. We have things like this capsule. So basically what the capsule does is sort of like the collision for the character. We have this arrow. This kind of just shows us which direction is forward for our character. Then we have this camera boom, which has this camera attached to it. What the camera allows us to do is obviously see our character, and the camera boom sort of allows us to rotate the camera around the character, okay? So really all this character blueprint is made of are these different types of components put together. Things like the capsule, the character mesh, and the camera. Now, also when you select different objects in the viewport or in the components, you're going to notice this window to our right called the details panel. So similar to the details panel down here in our main window, it does the same exact thing. So for example, if I select the character mesh in here, it's going to show various details about that character mesh. So we have things like the transform, the location, rotation, and scale. So if I were to change things like the location of our character, if I were to move it back, you can see that it updates the location right here, okay? So as I move the character, if I scale it, if I press R, I can scale it. You can see we're updating the scale. I could reset this back to the default, like so, if I wanted to reset it back. And then below that we have things like our mesh. So this is the actual character mesh. So you can see we have this mannequin 3D model. It's gonna look through everything, checking buttons. So now you're gonna notice when we select different objects in our components or in our viewports, you're gonna see different details depending on the component you have selected. So if I have this camera selected, you can see it has a name, follow camera, location, rotation, and all that stuff, okay? So that is the details.
Okay, I don't think I ever watched a tutorial for this long. I mean, it's not. It's a rundown. It's not just a tutorial. It goes over like, you know, aspects of blueprints. Like this right here is like the basic aspects of the blueprints, which is what I'm looking for. And then he's using the blueprints to do things, you know. This is exactly what I was looking for, to be honest with you. So let's get to what I'm looking for, then bounce. Well, unfortunately, everything here is what I'm looking for because I'm trying to learn the engine. Like I legit don't know how the engine functions yet. I'm using this to learn how the engine functions instead of just, you know, me trying to pick and choose. I could do that with Game Maker because, you know, I understood Game Maker already on the basic level. So if I needed like an idea, like a code idea to do something, I would just find that code idea and do it. But I legit just don't know how to piece shit in Unreal together yet.
Now what the compile button does is whenever we make any changes, whether that be to the blueprint logic or to things in the viewport, again, if I were to scale things or move stuff around, it's going to ask us to compile the blueprint. Just to check.
They should pay and try to women to voice these instead.
So right now, it wants us to compile because it has that yellow
question
mark. So when I hit the compile, it's going to look through everything, check and see if there's any errors. If there are
be honest, Katagi, would you listen to a woman teach you this?
It will show us that green checkbox, okay? Now to the right of this is for things like version control. So for example, if you were using something,
I feel like you probably wouldn't
of that. Then to the right of that we have
listen
this
to that either.
Find glass. So if you go to your event graph, if we click on that find, you're gonna see it pulls up this find results. Now for example, if I were trying to find this jump function right here, I could type in jump, press enter. Now we'll go ahead and find it here on the graph, okay? So that is the find button. Then to the right of it we have hide unrelated, so that will hide unrelated nodes. We have class settings, so if you click on this will bring up various settings in our blueprint class. I'm not going to go too in depth about that. I will explain it later on in the advanced blueprint video. Then we also have class defaults. Class defaults are essentially sort of like an all details panel. Basically, it sort of shows us all the details on all the different components in our components list, okay? So you can see it has things like our character mesh, the materials, and a lot of other different details, okay? Now to the right of that we have simulation, so we can simulate everything that's going on. And then we have these play button options. So similar to what we have here in the viewport. If I were to actually click this little play button, what it will do is it will
unless they have a thick accent, then it's funny. That's crazy. Now, I don't know about that. I can accents be if accents be pissing me off.
Okay. It will pop open a new
Cause I can barely understand what they be saying. I be having to turn on subtitles and
will
shit.
actually come in handy again later on in an advanced tutorial. But that is basically the top ribbon. Okay, and so last two things really to cover are this My Blueprints window and then this bottom part right here. Okay, because we went over the viewport, construction script, the event graph, we gone over components, details, this top ribbon. Let's go ahead and move on to this blueprint tab. So in this My Blueprint tab, you're going to see we have this event graph. This event graph is this event graph window that we have open. So if I double click this, it will expand out and show us all of the input events that we can see here on our graph. So you can see this input action jump is right here, our enhanced input action jump. Okay, so if I double click it, it will show it on our graph. So it's kind of just showing us all the different nodes that we have on our graph. Now, if for whatever reason you accidentally close this event graph, so for example, if I click the X right here, you can always navigate back to it by double clicking this event graph. Now we'll go ahead and re-add it right here. Now you can see we don't have our construction script. So to get to that, if you go down here under the functions, you can see we have our construction script. So we can double click that and that will bring out our construction script. So if for whatever reason you are accidentally closing some of these windows, you can get back to them here. You could also additionally go to the window tab right here, and that will list all of the windows that you need. So for example, if I were to accidentally close this viewports, I can go to window, viewport, okay? That will get it back. Now our blueprints tab, we have the graphs here, so you can even have multiple event graphs. So for example, if I have a lot of logic,
I ain't gonna lie to you.
I can actually add
this music helping though.
graph.
This shit probably put me to
That's why we
sleep.
have that little plus icon right there. Now functions, we have the construction script. We're not going to really cover functions in this video, so we're going to go ahead and skip over that. Same thing with macros. And then down below we have variables. So variables are essentially a way that you can store data in your game. I will be covering all the different variable types in this video, but it's for this blueprint. You can see there's a ton of different categories. Okay, you have things like actor, add event, animation, audio, all sorts of different stuff. Okay, so there's a lot of different things you can do in blueprints. Now what we want to do is we want to search for the event begin play. Okay, so you want to type in here event begin play, and you can see we have this add event begin play. Let's go ahead and click on it. Now what this is going to do is it's going to take us all the way up here at the very top of our blueprint graph, and it's going to show us this event begin play. Okay, so this event begin play is a node that gets called whenever play begins for this actor. So for example, when I hit this play button, when our actor is spawned in the level, that's when this event begin play is fired off. Okay, so this node gets called whenever we hit this play button. So we're gonna go ahead and actually take this node, and you can select it by using the left mouse button. So if you select anything, it will be highlighted in this yellow color. So currently we have this event begin play selected, and we can disconnect certain wires by right clicking and doing break this link. Okay, so we're going to disconnect this event begin play, and we're going to take this and move this up here. Okay, so this event gets called when we play the game. Now what we want to do is we want to print to our screen hello world. Just a very simple blueprint logic. So off of this event begin play, we can drag off of this pin, and when you drag off this pin, you're going to notice that it creates this wire. Okay, now if I let go of it, you can see that it pops open our little menu. Okay, the same menu that I can access if I right click it. Okay, so I'm going to drag off this and drop it, and then in here we can actually search for different types of nodes. Now the node that we want to search for to print something to our screen is called a print string. So let's under the development category, and it's called print string. Let's go ahead and select that. And now you can see that it added this print string node. You can see that basically it prints this string, and the current string says hello. Now the execution flow goes from left to right. So basically this white line represents the execution. So from the left, the event begin play. This is the first node that gets fired off. And then this white line with this pin is the execution. So it flows to the right where it fires off the next node called the print string. Okay. So if I actually click into there, I can actually type in this little text box. So I could type a little message in here. I could do a space, hello world. Okay, and then click enter. I will go ahead and save that. So now we have this event begin play node that gets fired off when I click this play button. And you can see it's connected by this wire to our print string, which basically should print hello world to our screen. Now, to actually go ahead and test this out, we need to first compile our blueprint, okay? Because we just added these two different nodes and we plugged them together. So what you're going to notice up here is on the compile button, it says, it shows this yellow question mark icon. So we need to go ahead and compile and save our blueprint. That way we can go ahead and play test this out. So let's go ahead and click this compile button. So what that does is it again runs through our code. So we made these two different changes by hooking these two nodes together. Then we want to hit the save button. Now we can go ahead and play test this out. So if I hit play, you're going to see in the top left we have this hello world message printed to our screen. Okay, so let me do this again because it disappears very quickly. So if I hit play, you can see hello world is printed to our screen. Okay, so that is a very simple blueprint setup. We just have this node event begin play, which is fired off when the game is played. And then we have this print string, which prints to our screen this text, hello world. Now we can even go ahead and change this text. So if I were to do hello world and delete this, instead do this is a test of our string, of our print string. We can go ahead and set it like that. Then also, if we hit this little drop down, this will give us a couple of different options on our print string. We can change things like the text color and the duration. What we want to change is the duration. We just want to make this last a little bit longer. I'm going to click in here and change this to 10. And basically this will change it to 10 seconds, okay? So we can go ahead and hit that up arrow and hide those settings. And then now that we made those two different changes, we need to go back into here and click compile and just save our blueprint. So whenever we make any sort of changes, we just need to quickly compile and save it. Then we can go ahead and play test and check this out. Now we have this is a test of our print string, and you can see that it lasts for a total of 10 seconds before it disappears from our screen. Okay, so really that is the basics of blueprint. We have different nodes connected by wires. Okay, that's really all that blueprint logic consists of, are just nodes connected by wires. Now really quickly, one thing you might notice is when I hit play, I can't actually move my character around anymore. And if I press escape to exit out of there, that's because we unhooked this event begin play from our add input mapping, which is actually what allows us to control our character. So we don't really need to worry about that right now because we're just testing things out, but just a little side note, okay? So now let's go ahead and talk about variables. Let's go ahead and explain what are variables and how we're going to be using variables in our blueprint. So first of all, variables are ways that we can store data inside of Blueprint. There are many different types of variables inside of Unreal Engine, and we will go over all of the main variables that you will likely be using. And so to create our very first variable, let's go ahead and click this little plus icon, okay? So under the variables tab right here, we can click this little plus icon. And what that does is it adds a new variable in our variables tab. Okay, so what you can see here is it added this new var. That's the name of the variable, and then it added the variable type, which is called Boolean. Okay, and it's color coded by this red color. Okay, so all of the variables are going to be color coded, and as time goes on, you will be more familiar with all the different colors and variable types. Now, for this Boolean, we're going to go ahead and just select this text right here and rename this to is dead question mark and press enter. and this is our Boolean variable. So what a Boolean variable is once you have this variable selected in the details panel, you're going to notice we have some details about this variable. So you can see things like the name. So if you wanted to change the name, you can come in here and delete this, rename it. And then down below here, we can see the variable type, which is a Boolean. If you actually click this drop down, there are more different variable types that we'll get into in a second. But then here at the very bottom, you can see we have this default value. Please compile the blueprint. In order to set the value of this variable, it's asking us to compile the blueprint first. So let's go ahead and do that. So we want to go up here to the compile button, hit the compile.
Yeah, it's visual
now you can
programming.
see we have this default value is dead question mark, and then we have this little checkbox. Okay.
One of the most extensive ones
Basically,
too,
what
I
a
think.
Boolean is a true or false statement. So right now, if I hover over this checkbox, you can see it's false. It's set to false. If I click on it, it will add a little checkbox, and now you can see it's set to true. Okay. So all a Boolean is a true or false statement. So is dead is our character dead? Question mark. False. Now if I hit this checkbox, our is dead Boolean is set to true. Okay, so that's all that a Boolean is, a true or false statement. Or this little checkbox where you can set it to true or false. Okay. Now to actually use this variable, what you can do is you can actually drag it onto your graph. Okay, so for example, if I were to take this is dead Boolean, I can actually select it and drag it, and then you can see I can actually drop it onto our event graph or our blueprint graph. And we have these two different options. So first we have get is dead, then we have set is dead. So basically we can get the is dead variable. Let's go ahead and do that first. So if I click on that, you can now see that we have this is dead variable. It's color coded in red to represent our Boolean, and the default value is currently set to true. Okay, so let's go ahead and take our event begin play and our print string, and as you can see, if I left click and hold it down, you can see I can select multiple different nodes. Let's go ahead and select all three of these nodes and just move it up a little bit further and just recenter our blueprint graph right here. Now let's go ahead and actually unhook our print string. So we can either right click this and you break this link, or you can use the hotkey by pressing Alt on your keyboard. So hold down the Alt key and left click. That will go ahead and break that link. So I'm going to go ahead and move this over. So we're going to use this is dead Boolean, which is a true or false statement. So off of this is dead, you can see that it also creates a wire. So I can drag off this pin and drop it, and you can see we have that menu again. Okay, so what we want to add is called a branch. So type in branch and select it right here. So this is the branch right here, and this is going to add this branch, which has a couple of different pins, and it's hooked up to this is dead Boolean. Okay, and it's hooked up to this condition. So basically what the branch does is it checks this Boolean. You can see that it's hooked up, and that is the condition. So depending on this Boolean, if it's set to true or false, if it's set to true, this true will get called. If it's set to false, this false will get called. So what we want to do is hook up this true to our print string, and then in this string here, we can go ahead and select this and delete this, and type in character is dead. Okay, so if this is dead is set to true, we're going to call this print string that will print to our screen that the character is dead. Okay, then we're going to go ahead and move this up and copy this node. So copy our print string, so you can select it, Control C, Control V. We'll have another node, or you can right click and add another print string. Either way will work. Then we want to hook this up for the false. Now we want to go ahead and change this text in here, and we're going to name this to character is not dead. Okay, so if this Boolean is set to false, like this, if this is unchecked, then it will check this Boolean. If it's set to false, it will call this print string character is not dead. Okay, so depending on this value, whether it's set to true or false, either one will get called, character is dead, or the character is not dead. Now all we have to do to see this in action is hook this up to our event begin play. So hook up the pin like so, and then hit our compile and save. So now if I hit play, what this is going to do is it's going to check this variable, this Boolean variable. It's going to check and see the default value, whether it's set to true or false. And based on if it's set to true, it will print character is dead. If it's set to false, it will print the character is not dead. Okay?
I ain't using Game
Currently,
Maker no more. I'm
it's
trying to
set
make
to
3D
false.
games, so you
So
know.
if I hover over it, it can say false.
I'm gonna use
It's not checked.
blueprints.
So if I hit play, it should print character is not dead. Okay? Now if I close out of this and select this variable or is dead variable, and in the default value I hit that little checkbox, set that to true, now what we should see is the character is dead. So I hit this little compile. You always want to compile.
Say 3D.
Hit save, and then if I hit the play button, you're gonna see that it's printing off the character
Yeah,
is
3D
dead.
boy.
Okay. So really all a Boolean is a true or false statement, and then hooked up to a branch node, all the branch node does is it checks against that Boolean variable to see if it's true or false. And whether or not it's true or false, it will execute the node
Oh
that's
shit, I
hooked
forgot
up
my
to the
earphones
true,
again. I keep doing
or
that.
the node
1
that's
second.
hooked up to the false, depending on. What we set this variable to. Okay, so that is the Boolean variable. Let's go ahead and talk about some of the other different variable types. So let's go ahead and add our second variable. So under the variables tab, let's click this little plus icon, and you can see that it added again new variable, and it's of this Boolean type. Okay, so we want to go ahead and click on this drop down, and we can either change the variable type by hitting this little drop down menu right here, or we can
That bitch
select the
cold.
variable, and over here on the details panel we can also hit this little drop down and change the variable type. Okay, so we're going to go down the list, and we're actually going to skip over the byte. We're only going to cover over the common variable types. So first we covered Boolean. The next thing we're going to cover is integer. So let's go ahead and select the integer variable type. Let's go ahead and rename this variable name. So we can go ahead and select the variable name and rename this to my integer. Okay, so compile, save. So really all an integer is a numerical value. So in the default value it's showing my integer, and you can see we have this as 0. Okay, so if I click in here I can actually set this to any numbers. I can set this to 1, 25, 9,999. I could set it even further, 10,000. Basically, I can set this to any.
This is why I can't do
number.
college.
So that means I can set it to any number as long as it's
Well, lectures like these,
45,
understandable.
90, 54. What a integer is not is it's not a decimal. So I can't do 54.55. You can see that it won't let us type in 0.01. It won't let us type in any decimal number. So really all an integer is a whole number. Okay? So you could use integers for keeping track of things like levels. So my character could be level 1, level 44. You could use this to store any numerical value. Okay? So just like our Boolean, any variable
Damn,
can be
what? What happened? What?
fetched here on the graph. So I could take my integer, drag it here on the graph, and you see we have those two options. We have the get.
You said I wouldn't
set.
learn
So
shit.
let's go ahead and get my integer, and now you can see we can get that value of my integer. And what we're going to do is let's go ahead and actually delete all of this up here. So to delete stuff on your event graph, you left click and select. I'm just going to select this boolean and click delete, or you can click on it and click delete. I'm going to delete everything other than one of these.
Good evening,
strings
Nut
and
Hello.
my integer variable. So we can actually print off the value of our integer if we hook it up to this print string. So one thing you may notice by now is that we have different color codes for different variables. And you see this is an integer and this is a string. So you can see they're represented by these two different colors. Now how do we actually convert an integer, a number, into a string, which is
I'm too much hands on. Like, if I'm
drag off this
interested, I don't
pin,
mind putting in the
see it
work as long
right
as you
for this
provide
green
enough
wire.
info for me to
If I
use.
drop it on this, you can see it says convert integer to string. So if I drop it on there, you can see it automatically takes this green
So if I live a habit of dreaming what I hear, that's the only way I can remember.
string value. So now we should be able to print this, the value of our integer, to our screen.
That happened to me
Let's go ahead and hook this up
sometimes.
to our event begin play node.
I dream
Now
about what
what
I'm
it should do
hearing.
is it should print the value of my integer, which is set to 44. So if I hit compile, save, hit play, you can see it prints 44. Okay? So that's basically an integer. It's just a whole number value. So let's go ahead and delete that, compile, save that. Let's create another variable, and let's just keep going down the list. So let's add a new variable, and this one will be called my float.
You see, y'all
Now, when
had
it
to be
changes
sleeping
from
in
a
class.
integer
It was only one class I remember
float.
explicitly
So we have the is dead
my bad,
boolean,
explicitly
my
going to sleep
integer,
in.
integer variable, and the my float,
And that was
float variable. So with this
the
selected,
game
we go
design
into
class I had to
details,
take.
and you're going to see that it says please compile the blueprint. Set the default
I don't know how to do this, nigga.
Go
What
ahead
the
and
fuck?
compile real
When
quick.
did I ever know
Now
how
you
to
see
do anything in
my float
blueprints?
variable.
I literally didn't know how to didn't do shit in blueprints.
So in here you can see 0.0. So basically what a float is a decimal value number. So what that means is I can type in 1.5, 1.9,
But yeah, I used to go to sleep in
0.01, 99.
it was game design 1-on-1 class
Basically, it can be
when I was at
any
Columbia
decimal
College.
value.
That shit
It can even be a whole
was
number.
boring because
like
that
one.
teacher just
And what the
rattled
float is
on about
useful
just
for
random
is for
shit.
Things like health or percentages,
The man
okay? Where you might need that decimal.
would go off on
number,
tangents and be talking
Because
about something
unlike
else.
The integer can only do whole numbers. It can't be decimal points. Whereas the float variable can allow us to do things like type in 1.5. Okay.
So you're definitely just
Save
learning a
that.
lot of
Same
superficial
thing
shit right
on the
now.
variables, we can actually drag it and get it on our graph.
Can I learn
Get my float.
how I learn,
We
my
can
guy?
even print it to our screen.
You ain't helping me. You not helping me.
On the on string, you can see that it automatically.
You just saying, oh, do this, like nigga.
Compile and save button and hit play.
How I'm gonna do it if I don't know how to use the
Print
tools,
off
nigga?
the value of our float, which is 1.5. Okay. So that is the
Golly.
float variable used for any decimal points or decimal numbers. Let's go ahead and continue down the list.
No, I know what the cables do. I need to know what nodes exist,
Okay. And we're gonna change this from a float
or like what
to a
means
string
what.
variable. So let's go ahead and compile this. Now in the default value, you can see we have this text entry box. So the string is essentially the same thing that we have here, where we can type in any sort of text. Hello world. We can use exclamation mark.
Like this nigga ain't the one
Pretty much
figuring
type
shit
in
out.
anything you want into the string. Okay? So it's a series of letters, numbers, characters, whatnot. So if I hit compile save, we can again get this onto our graph by dragging and dropping it and clicking get. And you can see it's the same color as a string because it's the same variable type. So I can just drag it onto there and it doesn't need to convert anything. Okay? So now if I hit compile and save, it's gonna print off the default.
You ain't
value
hating,
of
but
my string,
you
which is
pressing
world
me.
exclamation mark, a bunch of
Why
random
why ain't you
numbers,
using the
a bunch of
blueprints then,
numbers.
Gotay?
So if I hit
Why aren't
play,
you using the
you'll see
blueprints
that it printed
for
out
overcomplicating them?
Okay. Now one thing to note is you can actually hit play from here.
You come inside this Unreal real quick. You come inside this Unreal. You tell me what any of this shit is saying for real. You tell me what this shit mean. You tell me what these nodes mean and why they being used. Yeah, I ain't got. You could get blueprints. Unreal is free. But see, you ain't gonna be able to tell me what this shit do because you don't know what it do, nigga. I don't know what it do either. I'm trying to figure it out. That's what I'm doing. I'm sitting there watching a tutorial of a guy explaining what the shit do.
Click play right here. So either way, you can test out your blueprint by hitting play through here or play on the third person map. Okay, so that is basically the string variable. It's just a string of random letters, numbers, or characters. Okay, let's go ahead and delete that and add our next variable, which is going to be called my vector. Okay, and hit this little drop down. You can see we covered the boolean, integer.
Well, I want to run down on what the basics is, so I don't have to just mess with shit and waste time messing with shit to not get nowhere.
But right after the string, we have text, which is basically similar to the string, but this is mainly used for things like UI. But below that, we're
I already went to the documentation the other day. Hold on, where's shit? I ain't even gonna read them.
This yellow color, and now you can see my vector is set to the vector variable type. Okay, so what is a vector? So if I hit compile, you can see under the default value we have this my vector, and basically it is 3 of these float values. Okay, 0.0. This is a float. So if you go back to your float, if we set this to 0, you can see it's set to 0.0. So this is a float. And if you select the vector, you can see that the vector consists of 3 different floats. Okay, so a vector is simply 3 different floats. Now vectors are used in all sorts of games for 3D spaces. So for example, if I go to my viewport, and if I select my character, under the transform, you're gonna notice that we have this location. So in the location, we have these.
Boy, he was not born on 84, boy. I don't know you let him love you.
Okay, we have the location on the X, Y, and Z, and these 3 different values that basically determine the location of the character. This is essentially what a vector is. Okay, so we go back to our event graph and select our vector. In here, we could set this to again a bunch of random numbers. We do like 0.01, 99.5, and 44.3. So you could set it.
Now look at all this shit. Look at all this shit.
Again, it's just 3 different floats. Okay. So what you'd use a vector for is you could use it for storing things like the player's location. So for example, if I wanted to store the location of in the world, I could get things like the location and store it in this my vector variable. And let's actually go ahead and do that. So to do this, we're actually going to unhook this event begin play. So unhook this. And we're going to rehook this back up to our add input mapping. Let's go ahead and take this and move this down.
This man sell a total of 45 at the same time. That's crazy.
Move this back up. That way, if we compile, save, and hit play, we should be able to run our character around. Okay, so that's all good. Now let's go ahead
given information we know, we can literally just
basically we're gonna set up
a
very simple node.
year of the rooster.
It will get our player's location and we'll set this my vector to our player's location. So we want to right click on our graph and we're going to get a input key. That way when I press say the R key on my keyboard, it will go ahead and do this. So if I type in R key, I'm going to scroll down until you see keyboard events. You can see all the different keys, and we should have a key for the R key on our keyboard, so you can see we have R. So we'll go ahead and select that.
Your ass is either born 2005 or 2006.
Okay, so what we want to do is we want to first get our location and then set it to this variable. So first things first, let's go ahead and actually get our location. So we want to right click, and we're going to search for the node called get actor location. So it's called get actor location. So go ahead and select this one down here at the bottom.
You said 2005. I mean, you already said that Kotagi older than you.
Returns this yellow.
Kotagi is 18 right now.
Hover over it, it says a vector. Okay, so now we're getting the location of our player. So now we just need to set it or set this variable to that location. So
doing the math, you know, that only leaves 2005, 2006.
We have those 2 different options. We can get it or set it. So instead of getting the variable,
Exactly.
we're
It
going to
was,
set,
so that was last year,
set.
which
And
means
now
it's
what you see
2005
is
then.
we can actually set the variable value. So I can take this return value and plug it into my vector. And now
If it's based
I'm
on
setting
year or
the
month, it
value
don't matter then.
rather than getting it.
Cause he 18 right
Now,
now.
if I
He
hook
just
this up
became
to a
18
rest, we are now setting
last
my
year.
vector, the values here, to our character's location. Now to actually see this happen in real time, what we're going to do is take our print string, plug in the execution pin like so, okay, and then we're going to hook up this my vector value into this end string, okay. So now it should convert our vector to a string, and it should print our my vector value, which is our player location, to our screen. So we just have to hit compile save, hit play. Now if I press that, let's go ahead and add another variable type here. This one we called my rotator. And we're going to change this from a vector to a rotator. Now the rotator, let's go ahead and first compile this, is you're going to see that is very similar to this vector. But you can see that it says different color. Okay? So a good example of this rotator is if you go to your viewport.
Well, I was looking on here. It say it's like the rooster is between. But they got different ones. I don't know. Like they got like the wood, water rooster, wood rooster, fire rooster, earth wood. Your ass a wood rooster, ain't you? Cause that shit say it spans February 2005 to January 2006.
Select the character. You can see we have the
I
location.
know I'm a wood rat. That's what mine was, a wood rat. Or was it a metal rat? I don't fucking remember. Goddamn, hold on. Oh no, damn, I'm tweaking. I'm a fire rat. I'm a fire rat. What about Yuji? Happy New Year, Alpha Proto. How you feeling, man? Welcome to the
And
stream.
we have this rotation. So basically this is a rotator. Okay? So again, these are decimal points.
Yeah, this is not a
Basically, they
sprite.
are rotation
I am learning
values.
3D right now.
So again, rotate this.
Well, Unreal.
Give it 90 on the x-axis.
Damn.
If I set this
All right,
to
Alpha
0,
Proto. Have a nice one, then. Have a
basically
nice
a
one.
rotator is 3 different floats for the rotation. Okay? So very similar to a vector where we have these 3 different float values, but rather than
This is sprite feature your stream resolution. That's crazy.
and a location, it's storing a rotation. Okay, so that is the rotator. Let's go ahead and move on to the last variable. So add a new variable, and this is called my transform. So now we're going to change this from a rotator to a transformation or transform variable.
I'm tempted
That is
to
orange color. Now if I hit
to give Yuji the birthday, a birthday in the year of the ox. It says here that
rotation and scale. So really all this
1997
and rotators. Okay, we have
is the year of the fire ox. You know, that's probably the best choice.
For our scale. So this variable type is very similar to what we have in our viewport. Again, when we select our character, you can see that this is a transform.
You say Torball, if you had a girlfriend, would you want to have a sprite chat or a 3D model chat? 3D model, man, 3D model.
Okay, so this is useful for storing all three of these values rather than to have, you know, 3 different vectors or.
Can you add Cherry Bogart with a buzz cut in the top
hat? This can be useful for storing things like the player's location, rotation, or scale. So those are all the basic variable types. We went over booleans, which are true or false statements. It can either be set to true or false, whether you hit that checkbox or not. We have integers, which are whole. Let's go ahead and add another variable type here. This one we called my rotator. And we're going to change this from a vector to a rotator. Now the rotator, let's go ahead and first compile this, is you're going to see that it's very similar to this vector. But you can see that it says different color. Okay, so a good example of this rotator is if you go to your view.
I played Chun-Li though.
The character, you can see we have the location.
She's the original kicker.
And we have this rotation. So basically, this is a rotator. Okay, so again, these are decimal points, but basically they are rotation values.
It's because how annoying her friends is.
On the x-axis.
It's also her character too. I don't like her character. She fake crazy. I told you this before. She fake crazy. They brought Aki out. That's a real crazy bitch. I like Aki.
So very similar to a vector where we have these 3 different float values, but rather than a location, it's storing a rotation. Okay, so that is the rotator. Let's go ahead and move on to the last variable. So I add a new variable, and this is called my transform. So now we're going to change this from a rotator.
So that's a very good insight.
Transform variable. So hit that, and it's this little orange color. So now if I hit compile and save, you can see we have this default value, my transform. So if I hit this little drop down, you can see that
everybody here knows.
We have the location,
everybody knows I don't like feet. I mean, I like feet. So what you mean? Like everybody here knows that.
And rotators.
So how come you don't like Shion then? Because I chose Mion and she killed Mion. Fuck that bitch.
So this variable type is very similar to what we have in our viewport.
Also, I think her logic was stupid.
So it's a collection of a location, rotation, and scale. So that's essentially what a transform variable is. Just a location, rotation, and scale. Okay. So this is useful for storing all 3 of these values rather than to have, you know, 3 different vectors or 2 vectors and rotator. Okay. Again, this can be useful for storing things like the player's location, rotation, or scale. So those are all the basic
to my slight typo. Everybody playing love, but he always has slight typos, bro.
Statements can either be set.
That's like literally his trademark now.
Integers, which are over how to get variables on the graph. So again, we can drag all these variables, and you can see we have those 2 options. We can get it, our is dead, our my integer. This is key. We're getting our player's location, and we're setting this vector value to our player's location. Okay, so that is the set for Boolean. We can also set our integer by clicking set. We can set the value. We can set the value of our float by clicking the set float. We can set
I don't know, man. You'll be having at least a few of them bitches a day.
Type in there a random string.
Anyway, yeah.
You can also do things.
You gonna finish your scenario, my guy? You was typing that whole scenario.
And then
there you, bruh.
Transform. Okay. So I can go ahead and select all of these. Move them up here. So now we can see all of the different variable types that we went over. So basically the get, the variables, and then setting those variables. Okay. So let's go ahead and move on to the next part of this video, where we're going to use the information that we've learned, all the different variable types, and we're going to create a very simple door blueprint that we can open or close when our character runs up to this door. Okay, let's go ahead and go to our 3rd person map and go to our content browser over here. Now back out of this
Somebody comes for you to become a man. What are you talking about, bro? Who is tweaking? See, but say you try to put your lips on her bitch so it clips. What you mean it clip through my face? She not real? Am I not real? Who not real here? You said only plain legs are good, and that's only with a sandwich. Damn, you don't like chips and Torball have a quote. What's your question, Crouton Walter? She's been a 3D model this entire time. That's crazy. I'll compromise. Time to throw in that VR headset, boy. What the hell? Plain legs are horrible, and that opinion I do not like you anymore. Yeah, I never touch plain chips. I ain't gonna lie to you.
Folder. I'm gonna go back to our content folder. So let's go ahead and create a new folder. So
You see, I respect it. Man, if she was real enough that I thought that was a real motherfucking person the whole time even before that. Man, this shit, I don't know, man. I might have to just throw on the VR headset, you know. Then they make a gadget for that. Then they make a gadget for that. So I guess my taste buds get old. Only time I can eat some plain legs, they the only chip in the house. They the only chip left in the variety bag. And I got some hot sauce, but what the fuck? I'll put some Louisiana on them bitches. That's it. That's the only way. That's the only way I can do it.
right click anywhere in your content browser and select this new folder. And we're going to name this to Blueprints.
So they do have a cock harness that hooks up to a VR headset, huh? You ain't never seen the memes? You ain't never seen the memes, Drew? A dude walking up to my your winter son, that man got the VR headset on with his dick in that shit, boy. So I caught you macking on some Fritos. I never touch Fritos, bruh. I never touch Fritos. He said, oh, wait. Man, I gotta, man, hold on, man. Hold on, man. Hey, hey, hey. He said, I have one of those. That's crazy. Man, you lying. You lying. You said, I have Kotagi. What you mean? Wait a minute. What you mean by that? You're working in the bar? Nah, I don't know. I think it's a real one. I remember some shit like that being on Kickstarter or Indiegogo, one of them motherfuckers, June. It's some real shit like that, bruh. I remember it was going around on Twitter of people making fun of that shit, but that shit reached its goal though. That shit actually succeeded. You see, I have used it a bit, but it should be okay. I wipe it down with a dry cloth. I'm good. I'm okay, man. You know, I ain't trying to partake in one of those for real, bro. I'm not doing it. You know, just for the hypothetical. if I do meet a girl who happens to be a 3D model, then I might have to, you know. So what would Josephine think? Josie? I don't think she care. I He said, I feel sick for just typing that. I apologize gravely. So you know how women online will post sponsor selfies with whatever sex toys? Yeah. Some of them get something made of they shit for real. I get a crackhead. Why the crackhead do? He said them the cheapest ones. So you should definitely post some selfies smiling with a mega jerker 3 mega jerk. What kind of name, boy? Talking about the mega jerker. That's crazy. Boy. The Super Turbo Edition talking about fighting game reference. Can you search it up on search what up on stream? The Mega Jerker 3000? Man, hold on. I can't post that on no stream. I can't post that on no stream. What was your question though, Crouton? You was asking. You said you had a question. You ain't never asked it. That's crazy. What was she putting in the dishwasher? What kind of ignorant? Bro, they slob and twist, bro. Bro. No. That's crazy. See, it's okay that you have misconceptions, Crouton. So do Nut Bustly and Kotagi. They think that because I like feet, you know, I like everything just involving feet, include outside of sexual activities. You know, no, I would be the one who sucked the toes. I ain't gonna lie. I'm not the type that like my feet being played with or looked at. I like other people. Well, I like women's feet. My feet are. I wouldn't let nobody suck on my toes. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Maybe if they into that, if she bad and she like my feet, I don't know. Maybe I'll let her, but I don't know. Just because you like exactly. But you was telling me I was fake because I wouldn't want to do that. You told me I didn't like feet because I didn't want to do that. That's crazy. I clipped that because it was very funny. That's crazy. I mean, go ahead. I mean, ain't nothing wrong with no feet for real, bro. That's crazy on fake. That's crazy. He's everywhere they've been stepping. I mean, the whole human body be exposed to the elements every day, my guy. You know, most likely if they stepping somewhere, they probably got on socks and shoes, man. Nah, I'm 100% sure there are women out there that like men's feet. I'm 100% sure of it. Or they like other women's feet. You said women do not have a facility. That's crazy. In fact, in fact, in fact, y'all like they just had a will. They probably got more kinks than males do. Low key, they just had a will. So they're just pretending because it's cool. That's You say you know who Drake is? He went to my gym in the older days. Hey man, he might have been in your area. That's all. You know, he might have lived in that area. You know, understandable.
And then inside of this blueprints folder, let's double click.
But yeah, Crouton, I
another folder, and we'll name this
enjoy how some women's feet look. You know, some people can have ugly feet. Don't get me wrong. I'm not gonna just like just anybody's feet. They gotta be how I like them.
We're going to create our door blueprint inside of here. So to create a brand new blueprint, you want to right click, and under the create basic asset,
so you can tell this is old Drake and not new Drake because it's subtle zest instead of huge zest.
It's going to give us this pick a parent class. Now let's actually talk about the different blueprint classes here. I'm going to cover the most common types of blueprint classes. So the most common type are the ones that we see here, and the first one is called an actor.
He said, "No, this bitch never really gave a fuck about video games till became mainstream."
For things like doors that you can open up, interactable objects.
He said Drake really did evolve into a whole liberalized atrocity. He got a little twang to him, you know. He got a little bit of twang.
More specific class, a pawn. So this is a blueprint class that can be possessed or receive input from a control. You can open up. Interact video, where we're going to use the information that we've learned. Video, out the different. Video, where we're going to use the information that we've learned, all the different variable types, and we're going to create a very simple door blueprint that we can open or close when our character runs up to this door. Okay, let's go ahead and.
You said let's watch the door. Lil Nas X music video is a Bible study of sorts, bruh. You do kind of look like Drake. Who? Walter? You said, yeah, I checked it out. So what happened was, you sent me the kit for it, but it go along with the tutorial. I went to the tutorial, and it was not compatible with the version of Unreal Engine I had. So I just said, damn. And I left it be. I watched through the tutorial. For the most part. I kind of skipped through it to see what they was teaching, and then, I just moved on. That's why I'm on this one, looking at this one, because it's more of just more focused on like blueprints and stuff. Like it told me it was only compatible for Unreal 5.2. I have Unreal 5.3, which is the newest one. Like here on where it says, see right here, it's this right here pretty much. It was for this, and I couldn't. Well, it was this and this, but I couldn't get the shits. You see, you know how the left nut hang a little lower than the right one. Well, if the left one gets caught on something that you need to get of a 70, what happens then? I mean. You just gotta hold that, I guess. See, that sucks to be. No, it's cool. It's cool. I went through all the videos. Like, these are all the videos right here. I went through all of these. I watched some of them. This is stuff I already can understand. You know, this is stuff I can already understand. Really, it's just he really just told me what he just really tell you what to fucking do in terms of like the blueprints. He didn't really talk about blueprint. He was talking about shader graphs in this motherfucker.
Now if we open and move up and down,
and he wasn't really giving me the information I'm really looking for, so I just said fuck it. And I found this, and I've been looking at this.
Person map and go to our content browser over
he
here.
said once again apologize for the crude statement.
Folder, I'm gonna go back to
it is very late.
Folder. So let's go ahead and
you
create
good,
a new
good.
folder. So right click anywhere in your content browser and select this new folder. And we're gonna name this to blueprints. And then inside of this,
I might go through and do these because he making a door. He making a functioning door blueprint. Making a hat pickup blueprint. Damage and health box blue. Hey, yeah, see that? Yeah, I can go. Yeah, this is useful. This is useful information.
Folder. Let's double click and open it up, and we're gonna right click, create another folder, and we'll name this to 01 underscore door.
To my Fall Guys. What kind of game are you making right now? I'm just learning. But once I get a basics down, I might I'm gonna think about what I want to make first. Probably make something small before I go into like completely jumping into the my 3D arena fighter or whatever fighter I'm gonna end up making. Cause it's still toss up in the air. It's still toss up in the air. I might not even make it arena fighter. I don't know. I might pull a Pokken. So the 2D pixel game called Footsies, yeah. So you can see how the majority of artists. Yeah, because they probably came back to these. It's probably people who came back to these to learn how to do these exactly. So you should create it. I mean, you should recreate it with an Unreal. Torball. Oh, I get what you said. Like Torball #1. Okay, I get what you mean. I get what you're doing. That game that was made by Akira Toriyama. You see, an Unreal Engine 5 footage would be hilariously good, and I would pay $2 for it. You said there are any examples of dead-ass 3D fighting games that still have basically the same gameplay loop as 99% of 2D fighting? Yeah. Well, kinda. Cause Tekken still, even though it's a 3D fighting game, it operates on more of a 2D plane still, because the characters are always facing each other. It is that's what's considered that's what's considered a 3D fighting game. Tekken, Soul Calibur, Dead or Alive, those are considered 3D fighting games. They have a sidestepping and stuff take a big role. So it wasn't made by Toriyama. He just made. Oh, okay. Now 2.5D is 2.5D is Street Fighter, because you don't get the move to the side. Tekken, you can move to the side in. There's full 8-way movement. Well, I guess Tekken is more radio movement, but there's full 8-way movement. Well, not 8-way. Yeah, it's 8-way. And Soul Calibur is full 8-way movement in Dead or Alive. Yeah, I'm saying, like, it's not. I wouldn't say it's tank movement. It's radio movement though. You still aim at the person you fighting. So it's always technically going to be a 2D plane, because they're always going to be facing each other. But they move around each other though and shit like that. No, when you say 3D, you mean arena fighter. Then that's what you're talking about. You're talking about arena fighter. Well, yeah, Street Fighter is 2D, but it's 2.5D because it's 3D graphics, 3D it's 3D engine. Yeah, I know he talking about like an arena fighter style of 3D. He talking about like how Naruto Storm is. So fighting is a 1D. No, they don't because they have a X and a Y. That's what I'm doing, Kotagi. That's what I'm doing. Because there's not really any fighting games that's like that. Because the arena fighters are usually geared towards casuals, so they tend to simplify the gameplay in a way where they're easier to play. Yes, Jump Force is an arena fighter. Damn, what the fuck? Everything just go. Like, hold on, let me see. So, you said those have normal inputs or special. I mean, you should make Jet Set Radio Fighter. I don't know. I'm not really, I'm not really into the Jet Set Radio. I don't know if I could do it justice. So you're better off playing DMC5 PvP. I mean, that's a mod. It's called Strive because it takes Strive mechanics. So they should all play like Soul Calibur. I don't enjoy Soul Calibur like that, to be honest with you. Soul Calibur, like a lot of 3D fighting games feel odd to me in comparison to 2D fighters. So the arena fighter, that would just be a 3D fighter then. That wouldn't be an actual arena fighter. I'm trying to think of like other arena fighters, like what can be qualified in this. What about Pokken? What about Pokken? Come on, TIP, Shaolin Monks. I'll do something like that. What about Pokken, Kotagi? You ever see Pokken? Damn, they still had a tournament for this shit? Hold on. Yeah, I know. It's locked on. It's 8-way moving, but you still face the opponent. He said I low key like 3 bigs more than TIP. Hey, I mean, hey.
We are ready here for grand finals at the Pokemon World 2022.
You said that's wild as shit.
We already have a team change, bringing in that Shadow Mewtwo, and want to make sure that he's probably going to lead with.
I'd agree if it weren't for Yuji and Joe Matthew.
Yeah, the Shadow Mewtwo has put in so much work over the weekend. Aegislash is not going to be out. They just might have some weird matchups against the kind of zoning-based team that we do see from Shadowcat. But here we go. We are going to see the Dragonite. Oh, we saw Wild G play with this set so well. And in fact, we saw one set, I believe, with the Dragonite from Shadowcat.
They 10 times better on the terms of bruh. That's crazy.
Alright, grand finals already starting off with the lead seed behind Mutator's back. 8Y going to be stumped out and not being able to get the Leaf Storm on that. He probably was trying to find a way to escape. And the Psy Wave doesn't want to get grabbed. And
I think it would be cool if Netherlands learned to make good fighting games again. MKX was the only one. I mean, MK9 was good too. 11 ruined it, and 1 is eh. That's crazy. So you let her so deprived in terms of appreciation that he has to reinterpret your work. That's crazy. Oh no, the competitive play in 9 was goofy as hell, but the community love it. A lot of people consider it to still be the best Mortal Kombat, even though I prefer 11. I mean, I said 11. Fuck that game. X. How you feel about this gameplay, Kotagi? Yuji another like Otagi.
We just need to see how much damage it can do. But right now, already having the quarter, great way to fight your way out as Shadowcat. We might see the Dragonite soon. Oh, never mind. Don't need it.
Yeah, the Dragonite soon. Yeah, we don't need that when we can confirm the KO ourselves. Breaks in, not taking too much damage on Shadowcat's side. And not only that, we have the burst at the range.
See, bro, that's what I was literally hoping my characters didn't get in that game. I was really hoping my characters didn't get in that game.
Actually, it's going to be the Decidueye. That makes a lot of sense. This is, we mentioned it earlier, but it can be a very tough matchup for Breakson. Decidueye having a ton of ways to get in on the zoning to just outmaneuver the little fox, but also the ability to shut down your ability to use.
See, if they took this gameplay and put it over Pokemon Red story or something, just replace the whole JRPG aspect. What you mean JRPG aspect? Oh, you talking about like, oh, just making a game for like making Pokemon just a fighting game? You know, I liked the ideas this game put up though, because you know they got it goes from a 3D arena fighter to a 2D fighter if utilizing special moves that change the phase and shit like that. And there's some characters that's better in the 2D way than they are in the 3D way.
Shadowcat closer to the corner, getting a little bit more trip. Oh, the anti-air golf swing, it's not going to do enough. Yes, it's a light.
So yeah, RPG ass fighting game built with like Hev Team System would be rad. But you need really good CPUs. So the fat cyborgs haven't been fully playable in the base roster of NK games since 2011, but has appeared in the majority appeared majorly in all of them. Still is nuts. That's true. That's true. I mean, X got, you know, Triboard, but I mean that was DLC. But you know, how are they? I mean, how are they gonna fit them in the story for one at least? You know.
And he does have Dragonite on deck. 9 seconds left on the clock.
Oh, it's Dragonite. That's a grab. That's a grab. That's a punish.
And that's gonna be a KO.
You remember that Pokemon League of Legends? Yeah, people still play that shit.
Great dash forward, knowing that the Dragonite might come out to guarantee that chip. With 5 seconds left, there was nothing that you could have done except for sit there and block and get time down. Oh wow! Actually,
This is a long ass grand finals. This shit say it's an hour-long grand finals. Can't lie, they should have made a sequel to this. What's good, kid? How you feeling? I'm not sure how it would work as a final product, but I haven't given it much thought besides thinking it'd be cool.
But now he has to get through the Mewtwo. But if you actually look at the meter gain, Chef.
So I think a certain control system Dark Souls 3 would make a good base for a real fighting game.
He's fighting against the last character, which is Mewtwo, which we all know how long it takes to get it.
Yeah, of course, has a great ability to fight against most person characters, but this is going to be tough. You know, half HP might not mean anything if we can get a quick. Oh, never mind. I was going to say a quick field phase waiting to Bad Dreams Rising.
He just wanted the legacy skill of Dark Souls 3 to carry because he was good at Dark Souls 3. See, the only thing that's missing for real is grabs. I mean, you don't even necessarily need grabs. You don't even necessarily need grabs. Like, you just need a way to, you know, bypass a block, you know.
And this burst is still completely available, and there's so much room to just walk backwards and chip. But
oh my gosh.
Grab. That's going to get out of Bad Dreams Rising. We have to see the burst now. Back to a huge advantage here for Mutator. No way, there's no burst. No way. Okay, finally.
Oh, nice tech.
Oh no, this is actually huge. Can he confirm here? No.
A Pokemon roguelike Metroidvania dating sim. That sounds like a lot. So all you need is that rock paper scissors shit. You see, I want a fighting game that either has weak grabs or almost everyone has a command grab like King of Fighters. Well, I tell you what, Bucky. I said Bucky Bucko. My game gonna have weak grabs. I hate grabs.
Who's already in winner's side only needs one, and this is a beautiful start to it.
Yeah, that is a strong start, despite the fact.
Actually, you know, if I'm being honest,
The Darkrai,
the grabs in my game, even I'll probably make them easier to tech.
Exactly that, making the full
I'll probably make them easier to tech.
Mewtwo, not an easy thing to do, especially after losing that first field.
So no one said anything about that man's hair. Hold on. I seen it. I just didn't say nothing. You right. I did. I seen it, but I ain't said nothing. Hey, that's crazy. That's crazy. You said this is. You said this is precisely the fucking type, the type of black man you expect to be playing Pokemon. Said no, that's the one button tech. Nah, I'm making grabs easy as hell to tech, but I'll give him like more utility than just being a grab. Like I'll give him like unique utility between characters. You said Tekken grabs are somewhat easy. No, Tekken grabs are a mix-up, bro, because you got to know which grab they doing. They could either be doing one. We got to tech one button, you got to tech the other button, or you got to tech with both buttons, bro. He said, nah, I love doing grabs. I fucking hate grabs. You said when a grab input is the same as a regular-ass command. Normal. Now, see, I don't like the grabs where you got to, like, proximity grabs. I prefer, like 2 buttons grab or maybe like a button macro grab. You said I see niggas with worse head than that.
Set where Mutator has to win 2, and Shadowcat, who's already in winner's side, only needs 1, and this is a beautiful start to it.
Yeah, that is a strong start, despite the fact that he was down for most of that entire game. The Darkrai, who was really, I would have to say, put in the most work throughout the entire weekend, continues to do exactly that.
So 2 button grabs like in Street Fighter would be really good. That's how I prefer the grabs to be. Street Fighter 2, hell no. Street Fighter 2 has the most broken grabs. Fuck them grabs. Them motherfucking grabs. You can't even break them grabs. You can tech some of them, but if they got a mashable grab, you ain't getting at that shit. He said making a good fighting game that's super balanced and fun is genuinely super hard, so good luck to hey. All I do is play fighting games. I got this, my guy. I got this. Not to be cocky. I'm not trying to be cocky. I'm just saying, I think this is the one game I'll probably be able to make decently well, So long as I know what I'm doing to make the game.
With punish coming out from Mutator, going in with the chip damage. Vortex being a little bit plus. JX, oh my goodness, the move is so
What Fragrance the worst thing I ever played against.
But not without being head first.
So the clinches where you have to match, yeah, them shit suck.
And being put into the corner.
Oh, look at that. It doesn't take a lot of damage to get a low HP Shadow Mewtwo, and look at that one single combo. Took the life.
Yeah, the Dow some nugget grab. Yes, that shit he say yoga. He can sit there and mash that shit too, bro.
Another grab attempt coming out from Mutator, gonna put him closer to the wall. Set up, pillar, activating it, and the
But that whole that game is broken, bro. That game is definitely broken.
A little bit too early.
Oh, going right into this burst. Wants to close it out. Wants to guarantee it. The jump X is going to get a full conversion. I like teleport back. Oh, that's scary. Is that safe in burst? I actually didn't even know that.
It's actually
So remember how Xiaoyu goes under Lily's mids and taking stuff and shit is so funny.
Yeah, I guess that was just a little bit of a stagger and just didn't go for the third hit, but no punish. And if that was a punish, that could have turned things around.
Why am I still watching this?
Looking strong. Once again, getting a jab.
I would use, for example, when Kotagi didn't even comment on it. He ain't saying nothing about it.
That this Darkrai has to fight through. This time it will not be.
He ain't even saying nothing about it. I was trying to show him an example.
Blueprint, just so we keep everything organized. And let's go ahead and
So I don't know if bro, you asked, was there any fighting game that goes get close to? That's crazy.
Right click, and under the create basic asset, we have this blueprint class. Okay, so we can select that, and it's going to give us.
What you
this
mean? I
pick
think Ken look
parent
good in
class.
6.
Now let's
Say,
actually.
why don't
talk
people
about
like
the
suspects?
different
Emissary they don't.
blueprint
That's like, what you
classes
mean?
here.
That's like
I'm
one of the
gonna
most
cover the
popular
most
modes
common types of
from
blueprint
Smash. That's like the
classes.
most
So the most common
beloved
type are the ones that we see here, and the first one
single
is
player
called
experience from
actor.
Smash.
So an actor is an object that can be
I
placed
remember
or
people
spawned
disliking
in the
that one.
world. So really you can use this for things like doors that you can open up, interactable objects, any sort of blueprint tool. Really this blueprint actor is a generic sort of class, okay? Now you have a more specific class, a pawn. So this is a blueprint class that can be possessed or receive input from a controller or a player.
Shit, really, I
Use
brought
this
it
for
up
creating
to Ship
things
J
like
when he started spurred
vehicles,
about it.
cars, even things like NPCs.
Maybe he just
actually.
disliked it.
And then
I
you
know.
also below
I
it
mean, he
have
a Melee
character.
fan though, so
So this is a character blueprint.
I don't know.
Character is a
I
type
don't
of
know.
pawn that includes the ability to walk around.
Like for what I know,
This is
a
what
lot of people
third-person
love, you know,
character
like I
was
love
made
like
of.
just
This
going
is
through
character.
that shit with
Below that you have a
you know,
player
with
controller.
on co-op and shit.
Player controller is an actor responsible for controlling a pawn used by the player. Okay, and then below that we have a couple of other different blueprint classes. I'm not going to cover over what.
How the hell do you play Kyo and
in this
KOF?
particular video. I'll probably cover over them.
It depends. You like
advanced
record
blueprint
characters?
video, but these are basically all
He's
the
not
common
like, you
blueprint
know,
classes. Now, there
typical
are additional
fighting game main
classes. So if
character where
hit
you
this
know.
drop down, you can see all
How
classes.
the hell you play
If
Leona? I
scroll
can help
through
you
here,
with
can see
that
there
one.
are
She's a
lot
charge
more
character.
different types of blueprint classes. Okay?
But she's a
So
rush
we
down
wanna
charge
choose-
character.
We want to choose this actor for our door.
Okay, she's
because
yeah,
this
she's
actor
yeah,
can
she's a
be
rush down
placed or
charge
spawned in
character.
the world, and this is exactly what we want. So we're gonna go ahead and select this actor. That's going to add our blueprint class or blueprint actor right here. Okay, so let's go ahead and give this
That was
a
probably
name.
my favorite
We're gonna name this
story mode in any fighting game, save for like Conquest.
So whenever you're naming blueprints, you want to have BP and then underscore and then the name of the blueprint. Okay, just so.
To my bodega spam, optimal Kyo
File,
play.
save all, and then let's go ahead and double click and open this up. Let's go ahead and take this window and dock it up here at the top. And the first thing that we can see is our viewport in here. So let's go ahead and add our door mesh. So the door frame.
I'm pretty sure
and the
ain't
actual door that
Kusanagi
will
worse,
close.
bruh.
So the way that we add stuff in our viewport here is through the components tab. So in here you can see we have this add plus icon. So I click on that, it will have a drop down of different types of assets that we can add inside of our blueprint. Now we want to add
Bro,
a
how come you could
or
do
a
cliff
static
combos
mesh.
outside the lab, but you
So
can't
let's go
do
ahead and select this static mesh component.
you can't do
Okay, so if I select that, it will add a static mesh component.
Kyo combo, I mean Kusanagi
Name
combo
this
outside the lab. That's crazy.
door frame.
It's a
Okay?
Fatal
Now
Fury
with
special
this
superior to
selected,
Chaos
in
series.
the details, we can set the static mesh right here. So if we hit this little drop down, we should be able
You
to
can't.
drop a
I
door
don't
frame.
know, man. I don't know.
Or we can even open up our content drawer
I don't know.
right here at the bottom. So if we hit this will pop it open. And we should have
I mean,
starter
you
content
right, you right.
inside of here. Okay. If you forgot to enable starter content, you can always come back and add this later on. And the way that you would do that is you just come over here to this add plus icon, click on it, and click add feature or content pack. And head over to the content and add to project this starter content. Okay.
Which King of Fighters are you talking about,
In our
Kutan?
starter content folder, let's double click open that up. We want to look for props. So open up the props folder. We have this door frame static.
It's time for
mesh
me to hit the
door
hey,
frame.
alright, comic, you have a
So
nice
we
one.
can drag and drop this into our static mesh component, and it will set our door frame to that door frame static mesh. Okay. So now if
Talking
we
about
scroll out
15?
here, we can see the actual door frame.
So in
Now we just want
15
to
for
add a
Leona,
door
I
inside
know
of our door frame. So
she
again, we
has,
just go ahead
you know,
and
it,
select
like
the door
most
frame
people
here.
combos.
Click add.
Most people combos
add
are like
another
heavy
static
into
mesh.
command, normal into
So right now, if we hover
into
over the
special
static
move.
mesh, you can see
So
it's-
with
it says
Kyo,
SM
you can
door
run
frame.
up
So if I click
and
on
you
this,
could do like
what'll
you
actually
could do
is
heavy
add
punch up close
another static mesh,
into
a door frame.
diagonal
Let's go ahead and
down
rename this
diagonal down forward light
Name,
kick, or
and we'll
it might be
rename this
heavy. I
to
don't remember.
door.
Whichever one is like the little
Now,
double
let's go
kick
ahead and
sweep.
change this door.
But
Right now
you
it's
could
a
cancel
door
that
frame.
first kick
Let's actually change it to our door. So hit the drop down
into
you
the
see our
records.
static mesh door. So select that. Now you can see we have this door and the door frame. So
And
let's
then
select
for
our door,
Leona,
and right
she
now
got the
it's
same
off
thing. You
center.
could do
So
like
let's go
heavy
ahead and
punch or
move
heavy
over.
kick up close
Press W on the keyboard.
into
that will give us
I
a
think
move
it might be
spot. We can
forward.
move this
It might be
back
forward
into
light
the
kick where she
frame.
do like a little flip
But
kick
you
into
can
the
see it
air.
doesn't let us snap
She can
it
do that. She has an
exactly where
air
we want
cancelable
it.
move. She has an
You
air
can also turn off the grid
cancelable
snapping.
special
So
move.
let's uncheck grid snap
It might
there.
be
Now we should be able to position it line it up perfectly. Okay, so that should work.
It might be. It's one of the moves where she
Go
kind of
ahead
like
and
do like the
compile,
little,
save that. Now what
like
we want to
little
do
chop
is we
or
want to
whatever. Yeah.
add a collision
And then you
box,
can
so
cancel that
when
into
the
a
player
super.
overlaps with it, we can go ahead and open up the door. Okay. So in our components, before we
I
add it,
hate
an
fight.
important
We
thing to
know.
note
We know
is
nut busting.
whatever you have selected in here, that is where the component will be added to. So for example, if I select my door right here, my door static mesh component, if I click add, let's go ahead and add that collision box. So if you scroll down, we should have collision, box collision. Okay, so select that. You can see that it added this box onto our door. So if I select my door,
I don't even know where you got this door from, bro. Man. I'm distracted now. Hello, chaotic. Hello. I mean, the first punch is generally safe if you don't, keep using the rest of that shit.
and if I press E to rotate it, you can see that the box is attached to
Keo,
our door.
Leona, and
Whenever I
Terry.
rotate the door, the box rotates with it. Okay, I actually don't want it to rotate with it, so I'm going to take this box and drag it and drop it.
I don't know
on
what the state of the
default
tier list or
sequence.
whatever
And you can
nurse
see
and
we have
buff they
here
gave
options
characters
we can
recently, but
attach. So what
it
we'll
shouldn't
do-
be a bad
and
team.
what that will do is it will take it from being below the door to being out
Like
here.
when I
in
last
default
played, I was
sequence.
playing.
So now if I
Who
were to
was I
take the
playing
door and
last?
rotate it, press E.
I was
rotate it, you can see that
playing
it doesn't move with the door.
Rock,
So it's important where you add
B Janet,
components, because
and
depending on the hierarchy where you add
Yamazaki.
it will
Or
either
I
affect
could
things like
replace Rock
rotation or
with
scale.
Clark.
Okay, so just keep that in mind. So now we have our door frame, our door, and our collision box. Let's actually reshape this or scale this up. So we press R.
I don't know what make
Let's go ahead
combos
and
that get
scale
you feel
this
better than
like so.
KF though.
Scale this up in the Z.
I mean, it's
Press
not as
W to
stiff.
move this up.
It's not as like strict
Actually,
and
I'm gonna
stiff.
Scale this a little bit down. And basically have it sort of.
Well, I
like
mean, we
this.
should have been the
So
same
scale
for Marvel,
this
but you just didn't like because she was getting beat up in the
so that
corner.
our player can run up to the door
In Marvel.
right here, and once they overlap with this box, we'll be able to press a key on our keyboard to open or close the door. So now if we hit compile and save, let's head over to our event graph to actually add the blueprint.
So you don't
logic
have to work for
opening
combos
or
and get
closing
together. I
the
mean,
door.
that's
But in
not
here
true
we have
completely.
some pre-existing
That's not true
nodes
completely.
that
It's
you can
just
play
it's
on the
the
different
Gatlin
nodes.
system, you know.
And we can actually go ahead and just delete these. So just select and delete them, compile, save. And what we want to add is whenever our character
It's
overlaps
a open
with this
system.
collision
It's an
box,
open system.
we want to go ahead and enable inputs so that the player
So
can
I
press
disagree. That's what I'm trying to say. Like,
keyboard to open or close
hey
it.
man, go ahead, press
So,
that
with this
AABBCC. Then
collision
what you
box
mean? You
selected,
could do.
in the details
Nah, man,
panel,
you ain't
scroll
played.
all
You
the
ain't
way
played
down.
Marvel.
You're gonna notice we
You ain't
have
played
this
Marvel for
events.
real, bro. We didn't. I
So
mean,
this
Marvel
events
1. That mean it's
category
kind of
shows
like
us
that.
different events
You play
that we
Marvel
control.
3?
So in our case, we want to use this
That shit
event
get dumb,
on
boy. What
component
the
to
hell?
begin overlap. So when our character begins overlapping,
Marvel
so
Infinite.
we
That
want to
shit
go ahead
get
and
dumb,
click
boy.
this plus icon. Okay, and what that will do is it will add an event on component begin overlap. For
No,
our
I ain't
box. So
AABBCC.
basically when
That shit
something overlaps,
ABCDEF.
our
Boy,
collision
talking about
box
what
right
the
here,
hell?
this event will get fired off. Now what we want to do is we want to check and see if whatever overlaps this box, is it our character, okay? And the way that we're going to do that is we're going to use this other actor, okay? Because our character is
I found a character I
actor,
really
it's not
liked the Marvel. I
component.
would have stuck with it.
Components are like these different components over here. Our character blueprint is an actor, so we're going to use this other actor to check and see if it's our character. So off of here, we're
So I
going
like
to
how Chip
use the
has
node
nearly no
called
universal combos and
cast
plus R.
third person character. So we have
No,
this
no, he
cast
didn't play. He
third
didn't
person
play
character.
3. We
Go ahead
were
and
playing
select
1.
that. Now we'll go
0
ahead
ain't
and
in
plug that in for us already.
ain't in 1.
And basically what this node does is it checks and sees if this actor that overlaps this box, is it our third person character, okay? Or our character blueprint. If it is, this will be fired off. If it is not,
Nah, we didn't
it will
play
call
3
this
together.
cast failed, okay? So what we want to do is we want to go ahead and enable input for our character. So the way that we'll do that is we're going to right click and call the node get player controller. And down here we should have get player controller. So let's go ahead and select that. And then off of this return value, we're going to drag off of here and drop it on the graph and type in enable input. So we have this input, enable input node. So select that. And we actually want to unhook this target. So click Alt and unhook that. And take the return value and plug this into the player controller. Okay. So we want this get player controller plugged in to the player controller. So then, if
So I like how
our character
Kuma and
overlaps with
Tekken
this
has
box,
specific combos
if
to
it
use
is
on him
actually our
because
third-person
his
character,
hitbox is weird,
take
but
this pin
the
and plug
opposite,
it
it's the opposite with
into
chip.
our enable input node. So now we just want to
That CVS
add our
and
overlap.
SVC
So
would have
basically,
been
if our
fun to
character
bring to the
leaves this
dojo.
box, we want to
I know
disable
SVC
input.
is
So in
known
our
to
event
be
graph, we wanna
ass.
select the box,
CVS,
and in the events, we also
I don't know.
have
I
an event
personally find
and
CVS
overlap. So
more
let's
to
click the
play.
little plus icon right there.
That's just
We'll
me
go
though.
ahead and add a event
I mean, I would. We probably gotta give it a try, but
similar to this event up here. So again, the same thing. We want to take off of our other actor and check and see if it's our character that is leaving the box. So we're going to do a cast to third person character. And go ahead and select that. And then we're going to use the same.
CVS is Capcom
here,
versus
but instead
SNK.
We're actually going to disable
2 to be exact. You
So
probably
off
want
of
to play
this
2
return
over
value,
1. And then
we can do
SVC is
disable
SNK versus Capcom. SVC
inputs.
Chaos.
So
That was like the
disable
worst
inputs.
game in
In this
the
case,
3
we
of
have
them.
this return value plugged
It's also the
into
game where
target
Akuma
rather than the player
spoke the
controller.
famous
So
line,
if we end
"Beating
overlap
you
with our
was
box,
easier than
if it is
smacking
our
the
character that
baby."
is leaving that box,
Not that I would
we
do
want
that.
to go ahead and plug this into our disable input. Okay? So when we overlap with the box, enable input. When we end overlap with the box or leave the box, disable input. Now we have to
I don't know. Are those combos true though, Gotagi? Because some of the combos
we're going to right click and type in the E key.
might not be true unless you
Scroll
set it
down,
to
we
them,
have
you
our
know,
keyboard
checking
buttons.
as soon as they
We have
can.
our E key. So let's go ahead and select that. So when I press E on my keyboard, we're going to open or close the door. So to do that, we're going to use the flip flop node. So we have flow control flip flop. And basically what this does is when I press this, it will call A. When I press this again, it will call B. Okay, so we'll just flip flop back and forth the 2 execution pins. So now we just need to take this door mesh and rotate it basically 90 degrees like this to open
You
it.
also got to
90
consider
degrees
what
back.
character you're doing it on, because characters
The
got
way that
different
we
health
do that
values,
is
I
in the
think,
event graph,
or
we're going
different
to take this
guts
door
values. So
component, and you
the
can
more you
actually
hit 'em,
drag
the-
any of these components onto the graph.
they defense
So if I
act
want to get a
differently.
reference to this door component, I can just take it and drag it on the graph.
So I never. I mean, it don't matter. It don't matter.
Okay. And now what I want to do is I want to
Like if you look at the number on the side,
90 degrees.
it can pop up on us saying like what number they can pop out of the combo with.
Set rotation, and we have this set relative rotation.
Well, they could have got the combo with.
Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and select that.
So I'm asking like, did
And now
you
we
set
can hook
that
this
shit up,
to
dude?
the A. And then for the rotation, we can specify a rotation value. Now we want to rotate this 90 degrees. So if I press E, you can see on the Z-axis or this blue rotator gizmo, we want to rotate it 90 degrees like that. So we know we want to type in 90 for the Z right here. So type in 90 degrees. Now to reset this back, we want to get our door mesh and do a set relative rotation. So transformation, set relative rotation, and hook this up for the B. And instead of rotating it 90 degrees, we're rotating it or resetting it back to the default value, which is 0. So if we press E, it will rotate it 90 degrees to open it up. If we press E again, it will set it back to 0 or back to the closed position. Okay? So now we should be able to test this out. So let's hit compile and save. And let's go ahead and drag this blueprint into our scene. So if we go back to our third person map, let's take our door blueprint and drag it out into our level.
Holy shit, he made a door.
So let's hit play. And if I actually go ahead and run up to this door,
I mean, that man don't even need the, he don't even need the teleport, boo. What the fuck? All you need to do is have bad connection and you got it.
Okay. Now, one thing that you might notice is this door mesh actually doesn't have any collision on it. See, I can walk straight through the door. Now, that actually has to do with the collision on the mesh. And currently, there really isn't any collision on this door. So let's go ahead and fix that real quick. So whenever you're playing around with collisions, you always want to go to that mesh that's having issues. So in our case, I'm going to dock this in layout, and I'm going to go to our starter contents, props, because that's where our door mesh is stored. And I'm going to open up that static mesh door prop. So double click, open that up. This will bring up the static mesh editor. To actually show the collision, you can go over here to show and do simple collision, and as you can see, there's no collision on this mesh. So to add a very simple
Torball? I ain't gonna lie to you.
This collision button.
I ain't been paying attention since we started the door because we've been talking.
Sending it back to the default value, which is 0. So
now I see you doing collision. I see you doing collision.
Now choose this. Fix that real quick. So whenever you're playing around with collisions, you always want to go to that mesh that's having issues. So in our case, I'm going to dock this in layout, and I'm going to go to our starter contents, props, because that's where our door mesh is stored. And I'm going to open up that static mesh door prop. So double click, open that up. This will bring up the static mesh editor. To actually show the collision, you can go over here to show and do simple collision, and as you can see, there's no collision on this mesh. So to add a very simple collision, we can go up to this collision button, and you can see down here, the third option, we're going to choose this add box simplified collision. So now what that will do is it will add this simple box around our door. That will act as a very
I honestly
simple
don't. How you think I learned everything else I learned before though? That wasn't from looking at the documentation and shit or just trying it out. I legit had to look at shit first just to understand what was where and how to do what, my guy. I'm not just jerking your chain, like, my guy. We just don't want to see you fall. Have I fell into the comic man hole, nigga? Y'all literally been here for me the whole last year where I did the same shit I'm doing right now. Like Game Maker, I looked at videos and shit. If I needed something, like I knew how to do the code myself when I started the streams and stuff. But that was after the fact that I was looking at videos all the time to figure out the shit in the first place.
So very simple collision setting. Now I actually want to go ahead and modify this door blueprint because I don't really like the way that it snaps open instantly. Let's go ahead and modify it so that it rotates nice and smooth and opens naturally like how a door would rotate on a hinge. So let's go back to our blueprint.
I also never played plus R in a state where I was weak enough to even walk down stairs, which could have also affected my experience.
Alt and unhook both of that. Let's go ahead and take this and move this over. So to add that smooth rotation, we're going to add what's called a timeline node. So right click on the graph and search for timeline, and we should have at the very bottom add timeline. Okay, so let's go ahead and select that. Now for this timeline, it's going to ask us to name it, so let's just go ahead and name this door rotate timeline, like so. And you can see we have a lot of different pins in here. So we have play from start, stop, reverse. So in here, let's actually double click and open this up. You can actually open up the node, so double click, we'll open up the actual timeline, and in here we can add a track. So I'm going to hit this add a track. And we want to add a float track, okay? So let's click on that. Now what this will add is an actual timeline. So basically you have sort of like a graph. And the way that this works is I'm going to right click on this graph and I'm going to add a key. Okay, so I'm going to add key to curve float. So click on that. And you can see this key that we currently have selected has two different values, a time and a value. So I'm going to set this to 0 for the time and then 0 for the value. And that will put our key at 0, 0. Now anywhere else in the graph, I'm going to right click and add another key. So add key to curve float. And with this selected, we can set the time and value. Okay. For this time, I want to set this to 2 or 2.
Oh. You say he want Walter to beat Joey Chimney. That's crazy. Damn, what happened to it? What the fuck? Oh, there we go. Well, damn, this takes me back. He said this game just give me some kind of closure. That's crazy. Damn, hold on, relax. This is all in the name of game dev, boy or mama bad. This is all in the name of game dev. We were discussing 3D arena fighters, you know. Hey, what you mean? Sure, this is legit. What we were legit talking about that. What you mean? Ain't that? Why the fuck my shit freeze? My shit disconnect. You said when does it stop being a 3D fighting game and start when there's no. It's not even directional command inputs. It's the fact that damn, I don't got her future outfit. It's the fact that arena fighters have more open movement. There's no real confined movement. It's my favorite stage. Like even in 3D fighting games, like Tekken, and everything, you cannot do this. You cannot just run around where you want to go, look anywhere. Like over here, like this right here is not possible in a regular 3D fighting game. This is outside of the bounds of a regular 3D fighting game. Regular 3D fighting games still restrict you from looking at each other. So yeah, the Demon Slayer game is made just like them. Yeah, this is made by the same people who made the game. Yeah, you could jump and duck too. There's no duck in this game. There's no duck. You can just jump, block. You know, it's a lot of These games are also simpler too. There's literally only one attack button in this game, really. It's two technically if you count the shuriken. You got attack. That kind of fuck with that poncho though. That's his Hokage cloak. Damn, why is it lagging? What the fuck? Why does it keep doing that on my controller? It keeps shutting my controller off. Let me plug it in. This shit tweaking. Yeah, it keeps doing something on my controller. What the hell? Bro, why does it keep doing that shit? Stop that. But yeah, as one button attacks, you just hold up or down and do different variations, you know. They also tend to be more flashy. It's Eddie. Eddie is the public character. Why you trying to get him to play Testament, bro? That was a grab, by the way. Yeah, Eddie is the demon. His name is Zato. Zato 1. There's also barely any archetypes in arena fighters because they make everybody so simple. They all just play the fucking same. God damn it. Katagi said you look like Anji in real life. He did say that.
I'll leave the rest to you.
It's not armor. That man just slide past your shit.
I'm ready.
just gave him a controller. Oh, damn.
Seconds, and then for the value I want to set this to 90 or 90 degrees. So now we can't see where that point went, so to focus it in, what you want to do is hit the zoom to fit horizontal, zoom to fit vertical, and now we can see those two different points. Okay, so we have a 0 0 and we have a 290. Okay, so basically the x axis on here is the time. So this starts at 0 seconds all the way up to 2 seconds. And then the value up here on the Y is our degrees. So let's go ahead and we actually want to adjust the length of this timeline because after 2 seconds it still continues on. So the length is right here. Let's actually change this from 5 down to 2. So now we can see that at time 0 our value is 0. But as time goes on, the value goes up from 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, all the way up to 90 at 2 seconds. So that will give us that smooth value. Now let's actually take and select both of these points. So if you do shift select and drag, we're gonna, timeline is, so it'll be 12. And I'm gonna head back to our blueprints folder. Now the next thing that we're going to create is a hat pickup item. So basically when our character runs up to this pickup, if we press E, it's going to equip a hat to our player's head. Okay, so for this we're actually going to need to import and
open the door, nigga. I want to see the door open.
Playtest this. Let's head over to our third person map. If we hit play, let's run up to the door and press E. Now you can see that it rotates nice and smooth. Now press E again. You can see that it rotates back to being closed. Okay, because it's playing from the start. I press E, it's reversing from the end. Okay, so now we have our very simple door blueprint that open and closes and has this nice smooth rotation. Okay, so that is our very simple door blueprint. We covered over how to add different components and then how we can program those components to have functionality by using things like overlap events. Okay, so let's go ahead and close out.
You said what's wrong with just going in front of the door and having to press A, and then when you press A it loads a new area? I mean, you could probably do that too. What the fuck? He's just showing how the blueprints work. Relax. He's just showing off how shit working on Unreal. Damn. You know, I might have been doing that because I had Unreal open. Joke's on you, Walter. He has the he's with the manliest girl in Guilty Gear. What the fuck? What do you mean by fully learn? What do you mean by fully learn? Or running from your responsibility simulator, that's crazy. Oh, did I break it? There we go. Alright. It's time for me to take my ass to bed. Since I gotta be up early tomorrow again. But I will be back tomorrow night, or tonight. Same difference. Yeah, I left early yesterday too, because they got me coming in early this week. They ain't even got me on cards. I gotta do drive up and shit. These next three, well, yesterday, today, and tomorrow, I gotta do drive up at like 12. So, give me some good sleep in real quick. But I'll be back though. I'm off Friday and Saturday, so game night Friday, then Saturday. We could do. I'm gonna try to do some. I probably do. Who knows? I might do Blender on Saturday. How many more semesters until you could dish them? I'm starting another one. I don't know. I think it's the end of this year. Like, my last class should be the end of this year. So, I got a whole full year of semesters left, probably like 2 more. 2, 3 more. What want for me? What you mean by that? Damn, the Target era is coming to a close. I mean, that's if I find a job with the degree. Like, I ain't stupid. I ain't just gonna dip out that bitch. But yeah, when I come back tomorrow, I guess I'll just, I'll try y'all method of just trying to, find specific tutorials or some shit. I mean, I already did that before, with this targeted system, I did that with this. And that super jump shit. I just don't really know what I'm aiming to make right now, because
unfamiliarity with the engine. Like shit, I don't really know what the fuck I'm going for yet. Try to remake Smoocher Nigga Sprinters. The fuck is Smoocher Nigga Sprinters? Grand City Dash? Is that what you talking about? I don't know, cause you know that was a challenge for me to make in Game Maker. Like what the what the fuck I'm gonna do here? It would be easy, man. Just to clarify, I don't need you to do that super. I already made the super jump. I made the super jump already, bruh. You not counting what I made as the super jump. You ain't count. This bitch from move. I keep disconnecting. Let's keep doing that. You ain't count. This is a super jump, huh? I made the super jump already, Kotari. So you gotta have a state machine. What I need a state machine for? What I need a state machine for? If the engine just allows me to do this shit, huh? What I need a state machine for? Yeah. I am pressing one button. What I gotta do with anything else? So you guys are falling upon your own versus jam just by accident. If anything, I'll probably just do like a boss battle or some shit. I don't fucking know. That'd probably be cool. Just a little fight in this box or something similar. Like what state am I supposed to put in here to do a fucking super jump, Coach Hockey? Ain't no what the fuck I'm supposed to do. You want to crouch in a fucking 3D game to make a man? You know what? What you mean? I'm going from this standing state to this jump state. What the fuck you mean, boy? Talking about with a press of a button. All thanks to Unreal's blueprint scripting. Blueprints. They do the work for you. I'm gonna stop playing. Even if I did do that though, I wouldn't even have to necessarily, you know, make an actual state for it. Cause like, I don't have any animations to actually prove the states. All I got like for something like that, all I gotta do is just say, oh, I'm holding this button, and I press the jump button. Oh, it do the big jump instead of the regular jump. Boy, that ain't no state machine for real. the sake of this, I'm just gonna call it here. Just in case y'all don't think I didn't learn something from that shit, too, by the way. That's not the point of what Kosai trying to say. He want me to make a state machine that go from one state to another by being in a certain state in order to do the shit. So I'm just gonna make this real quick just to show that I can do that already. My point is I don't know how to use blueprints like that. Alright, goodbye, Crouton. You have a nice night. Well, I'm doing that right now, ain't I? I'm doing that right now, ain't I? Damn. Cause like you probably late to work every day. So I know this. If I press it. Actually, you know what? He was 4 hours late? That's crazy. You said, wasn't the time where you lied about having work? Bruh. Oh, shit. Normal jump. Super jump. Super. Look, you see that? Look. Look at that, Kotagi. Look at that. Look at that. Now, if I press the jump button, it jumps normal. But if I hold this button, which in theory could be a crouch button, and I press the jump, it do the super jump. Let it go, normal jump, hold it, press the jump, super jump. There. You're happy now? You're happy? I'm going my ass to bed. Now. My ass to bed now. And you know, I wouldn't have been able to do that without me watching the fucking tutorial. I would just sit here watching. So that bullying could be in eating them next time. It could. Damn. What song I was using for the outro again? Damn. Well, I mean, I did the if because I wasn't going further than just extra, just that one stage. Like ain't no point in making a full state machine. What's good, Extinct Acid? I'm about to go my ass to bed, but I appreciate you for coming by though. It was not Tachi's theme. It was Mika's theme. That's what it was. Mika and Yuna's theme. That's what it was. Alright, I'm finna my ass to bed, guys. Y'all don't gotta spam yo. Y'all don't gotta spam yo. For my ass to sleep though. Thank everybody showed up today. Thank you, Kotagi. Thank you, Nut Busted. Thank you, Boy in My Bed. Thank you, Extinct Acid, who just showed up. I'm sorry, my guy, but I'm about to go my ass to sleep. Thank you, Crouton. Thank you, Itachi. Thank you, Gradim, Shabazz. Who else? Kyo, my bad, Kyo. Comic Man. If I missed anybody, my apologies. But thank you as well. Kotagi, look, man, you stop spamming that goddamn chat, my guy. Golly. Anyway. I'm about to go back to sleep. So I will catch you guys next time. I'll be back tomorrow. Have a nice night or day. And peace.